Very professional. My sister took one step forward. One step. A ring of red fire exploded outward from her like a nuclear shockwave. The stone street turned to dust. The air bent and twisted from the heat. And those dozen-plus elite warriors? Gone. Just gone. Turned into human-shaped bonfires, then ash, then nothing. The whole thing took maybe 2 seconds. All that was left was a circle of scorched black ground where trained killers used to be. Yang Tianba's smug grin froze on his face like someone hit the pause button on his soul. Annoying, my sister said, and flickered across the gap between them instantly. His old bodyguard, a primordial spirit realm expert, threw himself in front with both palms blazing, desperately trying to block her. She swatted him with one hand. Crack. Both his arms shattered like breadsticks. He flew 100 meters and embedded himself in a wall, vomiting blood like a broken fountain. Void Realm, he screamed in horror. Your Void Realm? Yang Tianba heard those words and his brain just completely shut down. Void Realm is 2 full tiers above Golden Core. The boy had brought a water pistol to a nuclear war. Your pathetic little Yang family dares provoke us? Ling Yin looked down at him like he was something stuck to her shoe. Know your place, she raised her hand, fire dancing on her palm, ready to turn him into the world's most arrogant piece of charcoal. Quite impressive, reaching Void Realm at such a young age. Oh no. The gray-clothed farmer from the auction, Elder Deadwood, from the Blood Fiend Hall, materialized out of freaking nowhere, staring at my sister with those creepy eyes. My sister's flames burned brighter. So you're the Blood Fiend Hall's Deadwood? Your organization has some nerve setting foot in our capital. Interesting that you know who I am, he said, sounding mildly amused in that serial killer way. Sis, this guy's bad news. Maybe we should retreat, I suggested, being the sensible one for once. Retreat? My sister looked at me like I'd just insulted her ancestors. I've been alive this long, and that word has never been in my dictionary. She launched herself at him like a red comet. Let's see what a nether sea trash can actually do. Deadwood snorted and waved his hand. Boom. A literal SEA of blood materialized out of thin air and swallowed us both whole. This was not a metaphor. An actual ocean made of blood and screaming ghost souls appeared and engulfed everything. The stench was suffocating. The wailing was maddening. I felt my soul shaking, my energy freezing up, my whole body getting crushed by this horrifying death dimension. Even Ling Yin was struggling. Her fire was burning the blood sea, but the thing kept regenerating like it was infinite. Think a little blood puddle scares me. Little Ling's voice rang out in my head, dripping with contempt. Before I could even process what was happening, the yin-yang creation tower in my soul space went absolutely berserk. A massive black and white vortex erupted from my body and opened up right in the middle of the blood sea. And then it started drinking. The entire blood sea, this terrifying domain that had my Void Realm sister struggling, got vacuumed into the vortex like a smoothie through a straw. 3 breaths. That's all it took. 3 breaths, and the whole ocean of blood and screaming ghosts was just slurped up. Deadwood screamed. Decades of his cultivated blood energy, decades, gone in 3 seconds. He coughed up a massive spray of blood and crumpled. What treasure do you have? He shrieked at me, eyes wild with disbelief and murder. Even Ling Yin was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. I could practically read her thoughts. Who are you, and what have you done with my useless brother, little Ling? You're that strong? I screamed internally. Humph, she replied, maximum princess attitude. The yin-yang creation tower devours all things in creation. That low-grade garbage wasn't even enough for a snack. I have a weapon of mass destruction living in my head, and she has the personality of a sassy 12-year-old. My life is amazing. Then Deadwood's greed overpowered his fear, because of course it did, and he lunged at me screaming about wanting my treasure. You dare touch my son. A voice like thunder from heaven itself cracked across the entire city sky. Boom. A golden streak of light slammed down from above and cratered the ground right in front of me. The shockwave alone sent Deadwood flying dozens of meters backward like a rag doll. The dust cleared. Standing there in full battle armor, looking like a god of war who just clocked in for his shift, was a man whose mere presence froze the air for 1,000 meters in every direction. My dad, the war god of Great Qian, Marquis Chu Tianlong. He just stood there, and the Grandmaster Realm 7th stage dead couldn't even lift his head. That's the difference between my old man and everyone else. Other people fight. My dad just shows up and gravity does the rest. Father, Ling Yan exhaled with relief. Dad turned around and glared at me. You little troublemaker. Each enemy you make is bigger than the last. You've got the Blood Fiend Hall coming after you now. What's next? Picking a fight with God? I rubbed my nose and grinned sheepishly. Hey, that's why I've got you to clean up after me. Great timing, by the way. 10 out of 10 entrance. HMPH. He turned back to Deadwood, who was desperately trying to crawl away, and his eyes went cold as steel. The Blood Fiend Hall reached too far. Since you came, you're staying forever. He waved his hand. Casually, like he was brushing away a fly. A giant golden hand materialized in the air and just squeezed. Deadwood, a 7th stage Grandmaster who had my Void Realm sister in trouble, popped like a blood-filled balloon. Poof. Gone. Red mist. That's it. That's the whole fight. Yang Tianba, who was still standing there with his dozen dead bodyguards and his broken old protector, looked like his soul had permanently left the building. Even I was shook. I knew Dad was strong, but that strong? He just deleted a 7th stage Grandmaster with a wave. That's not fighting. That's pest control. But before I could even celebrate our victory, Dad suddenly snapped his head toward the other end of the street, eyes narrowing. You're already here. Why hide? Oh, come on. There's another one. How many surprise bosses does this night have? Dad's voice rolled down the empty street like a funeral bell, and I felt my stomach drop. There was someone else. From the shadows at the far end of the street, a figure shuffled into view. And I mean shuffled. This dude was dragging a black sword knife thing bigger than a person behind him, scraping it along the stone road like the world's most terrifying old man taking his murder weapon for a walk. Screech. Screech. He looked like Death's grandpa. Gray hair, hunched back, ragged black clothes, 1 foot in the grave. But when he lifted his head, a wave of pure killing energy hit us so hard that even Ling Yan's fire flinched. Not flickered, flinched. Like her flames were scared. My chest felt like someone parked a horse on it. This wasn't regular martial pressure. This was concentrated death vibes. This man's entire existence was murder. And you are? Dad asked, hands behind his back, looking about as concerned as someone choosing between noodle toppings. Tyrant Blade. His voice sounded like 2 rusty swords having a very unpleasant conversation. My sister's face went chalk white. First time I'd seen genuine terror on her. Tyrant Blade? The knife-obsessed maniac who was the kingdom's #1 most wanted criminal 30 years ago? You're still alive? I blinked. Who? Ling Yan's voice was shaking. 30 years ago, this psycho went insane practicing his blade techniques and massacred an entire city. The royal family sent 3 Grandmasters to kill him. He killed 2 of them and escaped wounded. Everyone assumed he was dead. Everyone was wrong. Cool. Very cool. So we're fighting a 30-year-old urban legend who eats Grandmasters for breakfast. This is the follow-up act after the Grandmaster we just killed. Tonight's difficulty curve is completely broken. Dad, naturally, was unfazed. Pretty sure my family hasn't wronged you. No grudge, Tyrant Blade admitted. But the Shadow Tower saved my life when I was wounded. I owe them. They have beef with your family. So, you all die. Simple math. Terrible math. But simple. Dad actually smiled at that. The kind of smile that has 0 warmth and 100%. I'm about to ruin your day. Seems the Shadow Tower didn't learn their lesson. Then Tyrant Blade moved. No warning. No build-up. He just lifted that massive black blade and swung it down. 1 cut. A streak of ink-black blade energy separated from the weapon. It was actually slow. I could watch it travel. But something about it was fundamentally wrong. The light itself got eaten around it. My soul felt like it was getting pulled toward it. That slash contained the pure will to end everything. Where it passed over the ground, the stone split open in a perfectly smooth trench. No rubble, no debris, just a clean cut through reality itself. Like someone took scissors to the universe. My sister went pale. Even a Grandmaster couldn't block this. My heart was trying to escape through my ribs. A Grandmaster. That's a Grandmaster Realm 9th stage peak with perfected martial will. The absolute ceiling before the legendary realms. And this one attack was above that. Dad watched the world-ending blade slash coming toward him, and, I kid you not, he gave it a review. Your blade isn't bad. You've touched the threshold of celestial phenomenon realm. Unfortunately, you're still a bit short. Then he raised his fist. No energy gathering. No flashy effects. Just a fist. It looked ordinary. I could literally track its movement with my eyes. But the second it moved, I felt something indescribable shift. Like the rules of the world got edited in real time. Fist met blade energy. No explosion. No shockwave. That terrifying black slash, the one that grandmasters couldn't survive, simply melted. Like snow touching the sun. Silently dissolved into nothing. One force breaks all techniques. Tyrant Blade's dead fish face showed a living emotion for the first time in probably decades. Absolute horror. He tried to run. Couldn't. Some invisible force had locked every cell in his body in place. Dad appeared in front of him like a ghost. Same punch. Gentle. Almost casual. Pressed it lightly against Tyrant Blade's chest. The most wanted criminal in the kingdom's history rocketed into the ground like a human cannonball, shattering the stone road and creating a person-shaped crater. He lay there coughing up blood with chunks in it, staring up at Dad with trembling eyes. You've reached celestial phenomenon. Impossible. How can someone this young reach celestial phenomenon in Great Qian? This man had spent his entire life trying to reach that legendary realm and never crossed the gap. And my 40-something-year-old dad was just standing on the other side. Casually. My eyeballs were about to fall out of my head. My dad is broken. Like, the game developers need to patch this man. He's not even fair. Dad looked down at the crater like a god staring at a bug and made the most baller offer I've ever heard. Your blade technique isn't terrible. I'll give you a chance to live. From now on, follow my son around. As his servant, I'd rather die. Tyrant Blade roared, which caused more blood to spray everywhere. I bow to Inno heaven and Inno gods. Making me a dog for some kid? Just kill me. Fair enough. This guy was the ultimate prideful lone wolf. Even the Shadow Tower could only cash in his life debt for 3 favors. Servitude? That was the ultimate insult to everything he stood for. Dad didn't get mad. He just squatted down next to the crater and whispered something in Tyrant Blade's ear. The rage on Tyrant Blade's face froze mid-expression. Then it melted, and what replaced it was the look of a man who'd just been told the secrets of the universe. Is that true? His voice was shaking, but not from fear anymore. Dad stood up without answering. And then, right in front of my boggling eyes, this legendary mass murderer, this kingdom's most wanted criminal, this half-step celestial phenomenon killing god who bows to no heaven and no gods, crawled out of his crater, dropped to one knee in front of me, lowered his proud, blood-soaked head. This old servant Tyrant Blade greets the young master. My brain blue-screened. I sidled up to Dad and whispered, "What spell did you cast on him?" That personality transplant was way too fast. I haven't mentally prepared for this. Dad shrugged like he'd done nothing special. I just told him that if he follows you around and I'm in a good mood, I might give him some pointers. Maybe help him break through to celestial phenomenon realm. For someone who's been stuck at that bottleneck for 30 years, being a servant is a small price. You could tell him to go blow up the Imperial Palace and he'd do it with a smile. I gave him a slow thumbs up. Dad, when it comes to manipulation, understanding the human heart, you are the absolute goat. Then I remembered something and snapped my head to where Yang Tianba had been standing. Gone. Vanished. That coward had slipped away while everyone was distracted by the epic boss fights. Little rat. But before I could even be annoyed about that, Dad turned his gaze toward a nearby alley, eyes sharp. You've watched the show long enough. Come out, another one? Is this street a clown car? How many hidden powerhouses are lurking in random dark corners tonight? Did someone put out a Groupon for ambush the Chu family, bring a friend? The shadows in the alley froze like kids caught stealing cookies. A squad of guys in black combat gear shuffled out, and their leader bowed to Dad with the energy of a man whose entire life was flashing before his eyes. Marquis, we were just passing through. No offense intended. Dad let out the most sarcastic laugh I've ever heard. The Imperial Secret Police, out for a midnight stroll? You really think I'm buying that? It was Emperor Zhao Yuan who sent you to spy on my son, wasn't it? My stomach did a flip. The Imperial Secret Police, the Emperor's personal eyeball squad, dedicated to watching every powerful family in the capital. And apparently, I was on their watch list. Me. Useless playboy. The emperor was literally paying people to stalk me. I'd be flattered if it weren't terrifying. The lead spy's forehead turned into Niagara Falls. Marquis, you misunderstand. We'll leave immediately. Did I say you could leave? Dad took one step forward, and the air itself turned into a brick wall crushing down on these guys. We're the emperor's men. Touching US is treason against the crown. The leader screamed, playing his final card. Dad's response was ice cold. If I kill you here, who's gonna know it was me? The Shadow Tower's assassins are everywhere. What's a few more bodies on their tab? Then he raised his hand and pressed down. Splat. That's it. That's the whole scene. Several elite spies who walked around the capital like they owned it turned into pavement paste without even getting to scream. Dad squished them like stepping on bugs. My eyelid was twitching. This man just murdered the emperor's personal agents and looked about as troubled as someone who'd stepped in a puddle. Dad, you just killed the emperor's people. Isn't he gonna be, mad? Dad waved his hand dismissively. So what? If he asks, I'll ask him why he was spying on my son. If he's smart, he'll pretend tonight never happened. I am now fully, completely, 100% convinced that my father is the most terrifying human being on this planet. The emperor of the entire kingdom is basically his co-worker who he tolerates. Dad tossed a bottle of healing pills at our new pet murderer, Tyrant Blade. Heal up. Follow my son. If he loses a single hair, I'm coming for you. Yes, Marquis. Tyrant Blade caught the pills with the enthusiasm of a puppy getting a treat. This man slaughtered a city 30 years ago, and now he was wagging his tail. All right, I've got things to handle. Dad flickered and vanished into the night. I stared after him, 100% certain that things to handle meant people to delete. Let's go home. Ling Yin yawned and stretched, treating the entire evening's worth of near-death experiences like a mildly boring TV episode. So there we were, me, my sister, my maid Bluebird, and my brand new servant who was a legendary mass-murdering criminal, just casually walking home. Normal Tuesday. We turned a corner and heard the sound of weapons clashing. Because of course we did. This night was apparently allergic to ending. Down a dark alley, a dozen assassins in black were surrounding a familiar red figure. They were coordinated, professional, clearly trained killers working in formation. And at the center, carving through them like a bloody ballerina, was Yi Hongwan. My future wife was having her own ambush problem. Every sword stroke she threw was disgustingly efficient. No wasted movement. No flashy techniques. Just stab, dead, next. Stab, dead, next. She was going through elite assassins like a machine built specifically for ending human lives. Oh look, your future wifey's got trouble too, Ling Yin said, eating this up like free entertainment. The regular assassins went down fast, but then 4 bigger guys in black armor stepped out. Each one was radiating Primordial Spirit Realm's 6th-stage power. They surrounded her on 4 sides and launched a combined sword net attack that should have been completely inescapable. Yi Hongwan looked up at their ultimate formation with zero emotion on her face, like someone staring at a mildly inconvenient drizzle. A blood-red sword beam erupted from her blade and went straight up. It hit their combined attack and ripped through it like tissue paper. For Primordial Spirit's 6th-stage experts gave everything they had, and she shredded it in one move. Then she moved. A red lightning bolt. First guy, hole through the chest. Dead before he knew it. Second and third, throats slit simultaneously. Didn't even get to scream. 3 Primordial Spirit's 6th-stage experts dead in literally the blink of an eye. The last survivor got kicked in the knees and went down hard. His sword went flying, and her blade was on his neck. I was watching from the shadows with my eye doing that twitching thing again. She was a monster. I knew she was strong, but this was video game on easy mode strong. For experts who should have been a deadly threat, and she killed 3 of them faster than I can tie my shoes. This wife might be hard to handle, I thought nervously. Then came the interrogation, and this is where it got really, memorable. Who sent you? Ice-cold voice. Zero emotion. The survivor clenched his jaw, reaching for a poison capsule to kill himself rather than talk. She saw it coming, smashed his jaw with her sword hilt before he could bite down, and sent his teeth flying in a spray of blood. Won't talk. She stabbed through his right shoulder blade. He screamed. Who sent you? Silence. She cut off his right arm. Talk. Silence. Left arm. Talk. Still nothing. Both legs. In the span of about 10 seconds, she turned a whole human being into not a whole human being anymore. I felt my scalp go numb and my stomach try to relocate. This was my future wife's interrogation technique. No clever mind games, no threats, no good cop, bad cop. Just systematically removing limbs like she was pruning a bush. If we ever have a marriage argument, am I going to end up as a torso? I involuntarily shuddered. The guy finally broke. Of course he broke. Your mental fortitude tends to decrease proportionally with your remaining limbs. The fifth prince. It was fifth prince who sent us. He said the marrow-cleansing pill should have been his. You stole it, so that's what this was about. That sneaky royal cockroach, Zhao Qian, sent death squads after my fiancée to steal back the pill I'd given her. The pill that I'd technically stolen from a foreign diplomat through armed robbery. The circle of violence continued. Yi Hongluan's eyes flashed with killing intent. She ended the man with one clean stroke, sheathed her sword, and vanished into the night without even glancing at the absolute horror show she'd left behind. Gone. Like a ghost. Like none of it ever happened. I stared at her disappearing silhouette for a long time. First thought, that fifth prince needs to die. I already shook him down for 10 million taels last time, and he still hasn't learned. Now he's going after my woman? He's got a death wish, and I'm going to grant it. Second thought, much more pressing. Little Ling, what the hell kind of body does my fiancée have? How is she this absurdly strong? Can't tell. For the first time ever, Little Ling's voice sounded actually serious. Excuse me? I was floored. There's something you can't figure out? This was the spirit of the Yin-Yang Creation Tower, an ancient artifact that devoured a Grandmaster's blood sea like a smoothie 3 minutes ago. A cosmic know-it-all. And she just said, can't tell? My power hasn't fully recovered yet. Okay? She huffed, getting defensive. The tower was badly damaged ages ago. We've only unlocked the first level. Most of my functions are still sealed. But, her tone shifted, uncertain now. For a body constitution that even I can't see through. Unless she possesses an immortal Dao physique. An immortal physique. I looked back toward the dark alley where my future wife had just disassembled a man like IKEA furniture, and I thought to myself, Chu Feng, buddy, your married life is going to be very interesting. Assuming you survive it. Immortal Dao physique? My brain did a record scratch. That sounded like something from the final chapter of reality. Yep, Little Ling explained. Regular bodies, like your maid's Mysticine body, or your sister's Southern Flame body. Those are rare, sure, but still in the mortal category. An immortal Dao physique is completely outside the system. It's a body born with the potential to literally become an immortal. Hold up. Immortals are real. I'd been assuming the power ceiling in this world was celestial phenomenon realm, maybe a tier or two above that. Now Little Ling was casually telling me gods exist? Obviously, she said, like I'd asked if water was wet. It's just that the path to immortality is basically closed right now. Almost impossible. But people with immortal Dao physiques are naturally best friends with the laws of the universe. They level up at light speed, never hit bottlenecks, and the heavens themselves play favorites for them. Every single person with an immortal Dao physique who doesn't die early is destined to stand at the absolute peak of all existence. I stood there in the dark street, brain buffering. So let me get this straight. My fiancée, the woman who just removed a man's limbs like she was peeling a shrimp, is destined to become an immortal god, and she's supposed to marry me? A guy who's currently at the Meridian Opening realm, which is basically the tutorial level. This script makes no sense. No wonder she fights like a cheat code, I muttered. Of course, Little Ling was practically bouncing with excitement. Immortal Dao physiques are unbeatable at the same level. Killing people above their realm is like eating breakfast for them. And here's the thing, her physique hasn't even fully awakened yet. Once it does, forget this kingdom. The entire eastern region wouldn't have a single person who could survive one move from her. I went quiet. So I thought I was the protagonist with the golden finger. Turns out my wife is the one with the real cheat codes. I'm walking around with my bootleg Game Shark while she's got the developer console. The pressure was considerable. Don't feel bad, master. Little Ling sensed my existential crisis and jumped into cheerleader mode. You've got the Yin-Yang Creation Tower. Your chaos divine demon technique is above all laws of heaven. Your divine demon body, once it grows, could punch through an immortal body with one fist. And also, her voice suddenly got weird. like a tiny devil whispering temptation into my ear. Think about it. She has an immortal Tao physique. If successfully get together with her, the yin-yang energy produced would be absolutely insane. We're talking not just unlocking the tower's second level. You could blow through 3 or 4 levels in one go. My heart started hammering like a drum solo. Her face flashed in my mind. That impossibly beautiful, permanently frozen, I will disassemble you if you look at me wrong, face. And suddenly, everything clicked into place. This arranged marriage that I'd been viewing as a death sentence, this engagement to a woman who used human beings as arts and crafts projects, it wasn't a curse. It was the greatest opportunity in the history of opportunities. She wasn't a terrifying wife. She was a premium, God-tier, legendary-grade power bank. That woman is going to be my wife, and Jesus Christ himself couldn't stop me. I have spoken. All my anxiety and self-doubt evaporated like morning dew, replaced with pure, burning, slightly unhinged determination. So what if she's got an immortal physique? I'm going to be a divine demon. We'll be the most overpowered couple in the history of existence. 1 month. Dragon rankings. Not just top 10 anymore. Number 1. Back at the mansion, it was deep night. First thing I did was check on Big Guy. The second I got close to his courtyard, a wave of raw, volcanic body heat hit me in the face like opening an oven. Big Guy was still soaking in the medicine barrel, but he looked completely different. His skin had gone from angry red to a subtle dark gold sheen. The pain was gone from his face, replaced by this mountain-like steadiness. Every breath he took created visible ripples in the air around him. Incredible, I whispered. He was at least 10 times stronger than when I first met him at the auction house. Still technically Meridian opening realm on paper, but the raw physical power packed inside that body could probably arm wrestle a Khanate realm fighter and win. Then his eyes snapped open. Boom. 2 golden laser beams shot from his eyeballs and punched 2 deep holes in the opposite wall. His eyes shot lasers. My subordinate's eyes are now weapons. He rose from the barrel like a golden war god emerging from the ocean. His body, already enormous, seemed even bigger now. Every muscle looked like it was chiseled from granite by an artist who was really into bodybuilding. He cracked his joints, and the sound was like a full bag of popcorn going off. Pop, 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 pop. Young master, he spotted me, and his face lit up like a kid on Christmas. He thundered over and dropped to one knee. Thank you for giving me a second life? I nodded, satisfied, and handed him the dragon blood sacred grass. Eat this. It'll help awaken whatever monster power is sleeping inside you. This is too precious. He stared at the herb that was literally radiating dragon energy and tried to refuse. Stop talking and eat it. I shoved it into his hand. He looked at the grass, looked at me, eyes going red with emotion. This massive, terrifying mountain of muscle getting teary-eyed because someone was nice to him, and nodded hard. Then he ate a plant worth 50 million silver taels in one bite. Like a snack. The second it hit his stomach, all hell broke loose. His skin turned scorching red again. A force 100 times more violent than before exploded inside him. He roared, not a human yell, but an actual beast howl, as the dragon blood essence tried to rip him apart from the inside out. His skin started cracking open. Dark gold blood seeped through the fissures, then got yanked back inside by some invisible force, over and over. The medicine in the barrel was literally boiling, steam rising with a faint aura of dragon might. Hold your mind. Unite your spirit, I shouted through the chaos. Use the technique I taught you. Guide the power through your body. Temper every bone, every muscle. Why yes. Young master, he forced out between clenched teeth, face twisted in agony, sweat and blood pouring down his forehead. This was insanely dangerous. The dragon blood sacred grass contained a trace of actual dragon blood. That stuff is so potent that a normal person touching it would just straight up explode. Only a genetic freak like Big Guy, born with supernatural strength and a body built like a tank, could even survive the process. I watched from the side, grinning with excitement. Soon, very soon, I'd have one more absolute unit on my team. Meanwhile, across the city in the Imperial Palace study, the mood was apparently so heavy it could drip. Good. Let that sneaky emperor stew. After what his 5th prince pulled tonight, sending assassins after my fiancée, and getting his spy squad turned into sidewalk by my dad, he should be nervous. Because the Chu family had a very bad night, but everyone else had a worse one, and we were just getting started. Now, I wasn't there for what happened next, but I heard about it later, and honestly, it might be the most terrifying bedtime story in the history of the kingdom. Let's start with the Imperial Palace. Apparently, Emperor Zhao Yuan was having a meltdown in his study. Papers everywhere, face the color of a bruised eggplant, tapping his desk like a man one heartbeat away from flipping the whole thing. His head eunuch Hai Dafu was kneeling nearby, vibrating with terror like a human tuning fork. The Chu family, the emperor hissed. They don't respect me at all. My imperial secret police, gone. Just like that. Where is my dignity? Hai Dafu tried the classic. Please calm down, your majesty, approach, which went about as well as you'd expect. Calm down? Tell me, whose capital is this? Mine or the Chu family's? Look, I get it. My dad did turn his elite spy squad into a sidewalk installation. That's got a sting for any emperor. But maybe, and I'm just spitballing here, don't spy on the family whose patriarch treats grandmasters like bubble wrap? Then the emperor got crafty. The rage faded and something much scarier replaced it. Cold, calculating scheming. That Chu Feng boy is no longer the fool I thought he was. He's been hiding his true nature. Shall we deal with him, your majesty? The eunuch asked. Deal with him? I don't need to lift a finger. The emperor smiled the smile of a man who poisons the wine at dinner parties. He wants to compete in the dragon rankings? Perfect. Let him die on stage. If he loses and gets killed in a tournament, his family can't blame anyone. Then came the real gut punch. Move the dragon rankings tournament up by half a month. Half a month. This sneaky little weasel was cutting my training time in half, so I'd be underprepared and die in fair combat. Technically clean. Practically murder. Gotta hand it to him. That's evil genius territory. I'd be impressed if it weren't aimed at killing me. Now for the real show. Over at the Shadow Tower's secret headquarters, this ultra-hidden underground fortress packed with traps and elite killers. Their top brass was having a meeting. For protectors, 9 elders, all Grandmaster realm, sitting around waiting for Tyrant Blade to come back with our family's heads on a platter. Why hasn't Tyrant Blade reported in yet? One elder asked nervously. Relax, snorted the Blood Butcher protector, dripping with arrogance. Tyrant Blade is a half-step celestial phenomenon killing god who slaughtered 2 Grandmasters 30 years ago. The Marquis household is just chickens and dogs to him. He'll be back any minute with their skulls. They were all nodding along smugly when. Enemy attack. We're under attack. Every face in the room went white. Attack? Here? At the most secret, most heavily fortified location in the entire kingdom? With layers of traps and armies of killers? Who dares? The Blood Butcher started. Boom. The entire underground palace shook like an earthquake. Rocks rained from the ceiling. Their front door, forged from 10,000-year mystic iron, built to withstand a full-power Grandmaster strike, exploded inward. Iron shrapnel flew through the room like a shotgun blast from hell. When the dust cleared, a single figure was standing in the doorway. No dramatic energy aura. No flashy entrance pose. Just a man in plain black armor, hands behind his back, walking in like he owned the place. My dad. He just stood there, and every single person in that room, 13 Grandmasters combined, felt like specks of dust, like ants staring up at a mountain that had decided to be angry. Chu. Chu Tianlong, the Grand Elder choked out. Yes, the war god of Great Qian had found their super-secret headquarters and walked in through the front door. Alone, like he was visiting a restaurant. Seems my last lesson wasn't enough, Dad said, scanning the room with the expression of a man looking at his to-do list. You still dared to send someone after my son. Since you want to die so badly, I'll grant your wish today. The Blood Butcher lost his mind with rage. You think you can take on our entire organization by yourself? Formation. Kill him. All 13 Grandmasters attacked simultaneously. 13. Their combined power merged with the fortress's built-in defense arrays, creating a massive blood-red thundercloud that could erase any Grandmaster from existence. Dad looked at the apocalyptic death cloud bearing down on him with the enthusiasm of someone watching paint dry. He raised his right hand and squeezed. Cracked the thundercloud, powered by 13 Grandmasters plus fortress arrays, just shattered, like a Christmas ornament, dissolved into sparkly energy confetti and vanished. All 13 of them simultaneously vomited blood and collapsed. Everyone stared at Dad like they were witnessing a glitch in reality. Since you don't want to live, then die, he moved. After image. Gone. He appeared in front of the blood butcher. And oh, one finger. Touched his forehead. Gently. Pop. The blood butcher's head exploded like a watermelon at a sledgehammer convention. Then Dad just kept going, flickering through the room like a butterfly in a garden of screaming flowers. Each flicker, another Grandmaster died. One finger here, one punch there, one palm strike. No fancy techniques. Just raw, absurd, shouldn't be legal power. These were Grandmasters. Legendary warriors who could destroy cities. And Dad was harvesting them like wheat with a scythe. 10 breaths. That's all it took. For protectors. 9 elders. All dead. Dad stood in the middle of a room that looked like a slaughterhouse, his armor spotless. Not a single drop of blood on him. Like he'd just gone for a light jog. And then, because apparently wiping out the entire leadership wasn't enough to end the party, an even more terrifying pressure erupted from the deepest chamber of the fortress. Something 100 times worse than Tyrant Blade. Who dares run wild in my shadow tower? An ancient, booming voice shook the entire underground complex like thunder. So there was a boss behind the bosses. A hidden final boss in the basement. Look, I wasn't there. But knowing my dad, he probably looked at whatever ancient monster was emerging from the depths and thought, oh good, dessert, that man is not human. He's a natural disaster with a family. And he's my natural disaster. That I should probably send him a Father's Day gift or something. My dad went to the Shadow Tower's super-secret underground fortress, the most hidden, most heavily guarded place in the entire kingdom, and kicked the front door in. By himself. Their leadership was sitting around a table, smugly waiting for Tyrant Blade to come back with our heads. Instead, they got my father. Their big boss, the Tower Master, had been meditating in seclusion for years and had reached celestial phenomenon realm. The same legendary tier as my dad. He burst out of his chamber like a blood-robed thunder god, floating in the air with storms swirling around him, and his surviving minions cheered like the cavalry had arrived. The master is out. He's celestial phenomenon. The intruder is dead. The Tower Master looked down at the massacre below and went absolutely ballistic. You dare invade my shadow tower? I'll use your soul as a funeral offering. He slammed down a massive blood-red palm made of pure heaven and earth energy. The thing was big enough to blot out the sky. Dad looked up at it the way you'd look at a fly buzzing near your food. He stepped forward, appeared directly in front of the Tower Master, and kicked him. One kick. The sky-covering blood palm shattered. The Tower Master's protective energy popped like a soap bubble. He screamed, fell from the sky, and cratered into the ground. Dad walked over and put his foot on the guy's chest. That's it. The Tower Master was coughing blood and screaming. How? What realm are you? You can't kill me. My master is from the Nether Sea. He's don't care. Dad pressed down. Crunch. The founder of the Shadow Tower, a celestial phenomenon realm powerhouse, got his entire chest stomped into paste. On his own floor. In his own base. While his own people watched. Same realm as my dad. Didn't matter. Not even close. I genuinely think my father might be the strongest thing walking on 2 legs in this world, and everyone else is just competing for second place. Anyway, that was Dad's night. Mine was different. I woke up the next morning feeling absolutely fantastic. Refreshed. Energized. Ready to conquer the world. I looked down at my maid Schwanger curled up next to me, still completely knocked out. Poor girl had a satisfied little blush on her face, but also looked like she'd run 3 marathons. Her eyelashes were trembling even in her sleep. I sighed. Still too weak, I muttered. The Mysticine body is nice and all, but the recovery ability is terrible. She can't handle a full night of cultivation practice. My eyes drifted to the courtyard outside, where I pictured Blue Bird, that proud, athletic, cold-as-ice bodyguard of mine with her Azure Phoenix bloodline. Phoenix bloodline should have way better stamina. I stroked my chin with the look of a man formulating a very important strategic plan. Gotta find the right moment to tame that proud little bird. I got dressed, opened my door, morning sunlight, beautiful day, boom. A blast of energy erupted from the side courtyard so violently that the entire Marquis mansion shook. Trees bent over. Flower petals disintegrated into dust. It felt like an ancient beast waking up from a million-year nap. I bolted toward the source and found my sister already there, having beaten me by half a second. The giant medicine barrel exploded, nothing but splinters. And standing in the middle of the wreckage was Big Guy. But not the Big Guy I knew. This was Big Guy 2.0, the premium edition. His entire body had turned dark gold, like someone had dipped a human tank in liquid metal. He was just standing there, not moving, not flexing, and the air around him felt thick, heavy, like being near a sleeping dragon. He opened his eyes, golden, glowing, like two little suns in his skull. Golden Core realm. And not baby Golden Core either. His raw physical power was so absurd that he felt less like a human martial artist and more like an ancient dragon wearing a person costume. What the? Even my sister dropped an F-bomb. She circled around him like a scientist examining an alien, eyes as wide as dinner plates. What kind of monster is this? Here's the truly insane part. My sister is Void Realm. That's 2 full tiers above Golden Core. And she could feel pressure coming off Big Guy. A Golden Core newbie was making a Void Realm expert uncomfortable. That's like a high school freshman intimidating a Navy SEAL just by standing there. Young Master, Big Guy's terrifying golden eyes instantly turned back into happy puppy eyes when he saw me. He bounded over and dropped to one knee, his voice so loud it rattled my eardrums. Good, 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 I said, pulling him up and slapping his shoulder, which hurt my hand more than it hurt him, because his body was literally harder than steel now. From today, you are the sharpest blade in my arsenal. Then Ling Yin hit me with the morning news. Oh, by the way, you know what happened last night? What? The Shadow Tower got wiped out. The entire thing. Every last person. Tower Master, Protectors, Elders, regular assassins, all dead. Their underground headquarters got torn apart. The scene was apparently not pretty. I stared at her. Let me guess. Dad? She shrugged with the tired resignation of someone whose father regularly commits organizational genocide as an evening hobby. Who else could erase a centuries-old assassin empire in one night? That old man, always so direct. I felt a complicated mix of emotions. Shocked at the scale of destruction. Warmed by the fact that he'd done it all because they'd messed with me. My dad's love language is mass murder, and honestly, I feel very loved. Oh, and one more thing, Ling Yin added casually, like she hadn't just dropped enough bombshells. The Royal Court announced the Dragon Rankings tournament is being moved up by half a month. You've got less than a week. What? Why? Ling Yan's eyes narrowed. This stinks of conspiracy. Yeah, it did. Emperor Zhao Yuan, the man whose spy squad my dad turned into road art, was cutting my preparation time in half. He wanted me to show up underprepared and die in fair combat on the tournament stage. Clean hands. No blame. Just, oh, what a shame. The young master wasn't strong enough. So let me tally up my current situation. The emperor wants me dead on a stage. A foreign criminal empire knows I have a treasure. The Yang family wants to rob me. The 5th prince sent assassins after my fiancée. And I now have less than a week to get strong enough to place first in the kingdom's Deadliest tournament. On the bright side, I have a sister who burns people alive, a dad who solos entire organizations before breakfast, a legendary mass murderer as my new bodyguard, a subordinate, who's basically a golden dragon in a human suit, and a fiancé with an immortal body who I am now extremely motivated to marry. Bring it on. All of you. Bring it on. Conspiracy, Ling Yin said, and honestly, understatement of the century. She laid it all out. Our family was already the biggest target in town. I'd publicly announced I was going for top 10 at the Dragon Rankings while wearing the title of Kingdom's #1 useless playboy. Every ambitious young fighter in the country was now thinking the same thing. If I beat that marquee kid on stage, I'm famous overnight. Stepping on your name to boost theirs. That's a bargain they'd kill for, she said. And now the emperor conveniently moves the tournament up by half a month? He wants you dead on that stage with 0 preparation time. A child could see through this plan. They want to step on me, I snorted and stretched lazily. Let's see who's stepping on who. Ling Yin shook her head with the resigned expression of someone whose little brother might actually be clinically fearless. Then Blue Bird showed up with news. The Misty Rain Pavilion's boss lady, Lu Ruyan, wanted to see me. What did that enchantress want now? I headed over and found her lounging by a window in a purple slit dress, draped across a couch like a weapon designed specifically to destroy male brain cells. Sunlight was hitting her at exactly the right angle, because of course it was. This woman probably had the sun on payroll. I caught myself staring, and my brain produced exactly one thought. Purple really is her color. What's the occasion? I asked, sitting down and trying to act like a functioning human. Someone paid a lot of money to learn the identity of a certain masked prodigy, she purred. I turned them down naturally, but they wouldn't give up, offered even more money just for a face-to-face meeting with you. Who? Shen Jingxue, eldest daughter of the Shen family. Oh, the ice princess from last night. The one with the useless brother who threw a tantrum over the marrow cleansing pill. What could SHE possibly want with me? I put on the bronze mask and walked into the meeting room. There she was, white dress, sitting primly at a table, looking like a snow lotus that had learned to judge people. Behind her stood an old woman bodyguard radiating, "I will lend you energy." "Thank you for coming," Shen Jingxue said, voice cool as mountain spring water. "Sure. What do you need?" She went quiet for a moment. Something flickered across her face. Hesitation? Struggle? This was new. Ice queens don't usually look uncertain. Then she looked me dead in the eyes and asked the absolute last question I expected. "Sir, are you married?" I blinked. "No." "Why?" She took a deep breath, like someone about to jump off a cliff. "Then would you consider marrying me?" PFFD. I nearly launched tea across the room through my nostrils. What? Marriage? Just like that? No dinner, no courtship. No, let's get to know each other. Phase, straight to, will you marry me? I've had street vendors use harder selling tactics. Before my brain could finish rebooting, she explained. The Shin family was one of the 5 great houses, but behind the scenes, total mess. Only 2 heirs left, her and her brother Shin Lang, aka Captain Tantrum. She was born with sealed meridians, couldn't cultivate at all. Her brother was talentless and had the personality of a spoiled hamster. The dragon rankings were coming, and if the Shun family didn't put up a strong showing, they'd become a laughingstock, lose their position among the 5 families, and centuries of legacy would crumble. "So you want me to marry into your family and fight in the dragon rankings as your representative?" I said. Yes. A rare blush crept across her porcelain cheeks. But the marriage would be real. You'd become the Shin family's most honored son-in-law. Any conditions you want, name them. Any other guy would have been doing backflips. Marry into one of the 5 great families. Power, wealth, status, and a gorgeous ice queen wife. That's winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning while finding a 4-leaf clover. But inside my head, little Ling was going absolutely nuts. "Master, this woman is weird." "In a good way." "How so?" "She says she can't cultivate, right?" "Wrong. There's an incredibly powerful, ancient bloodline force locked inside her body. Someone sealed it using an extremely advanced technique. It's so well hidden that even a celestial phenomenon expert couldn't detect it. But nothing gets past me. And if you, dual cultivate with her, I can use the Yin-Yang Creation Tower to forcibly break that seal. 20 years of suppressed bloodline power exploding at once. The Yin-Yang energy generated would send your cultivation level through the roof." My eye twitched. Another one. Another premium god-tier power bank disguised as a beautiful woman proposing marriage to me. First, my fiancé turns out to have a literal immortal body. Now this ice princess has a secret sealed ancient bloodline. Was the universe just throwing power-ups at me in wife form? I looked at Shin Jingxue with new eyes. She sat there all composed and dignified, completely unaware that the masked weirdo across from her was mentally calculating her energy output like she was a rechargeable battery. My life has become very strange. I was about to respond, hadn't decided what to say yet, honestly, because my brain was running 17 different cost-benefit analyses simultaneously, when, BM, the door got kicked clean open from outside. Because apparently, I can't have a single conversation in this city without someone dramatically busting through a door. Is there a law against knocking? Did doors personally offend someone? What is it with people and doors in this kingdom? I was, wearing my bronze mask, sitting across from a beautiful woman who had just proposed marriage to me like she was ordering lunch, when the door got kicked open. Because obviously, some pretty boy in fancy white robes swaggered in like he'd just bought the building. This was Shun Hai, some hotshot cousin from the Shun family's branch line. He had bodyguards behind him and an ego the size of a continent in front of him. "Shun Hai? What are you doing here? Shen Jingshue's face went from Ice Queen to Ice Queen who smelled something rotten. Did he care? Not even a little. He eyeballed Jingxue like she was property, then turned to me with the kind of look you give a piece of gum stuck to your shoe. So Big Sis is out here secretly meeting boyfriends, huh? He sneered. I heard you've been desperately searching for that masked freak to marry into our family and fight at the dragon rankings for us. How embarrassing. Then he puffed up his chest like a pigeon in mating season. No need for all that trouble. I just broke through to the Khanate realm yesterday. The family had already approved me to represent the Shen family. Jingshue's face went pale. That was actually bad news for her. This guy wasn't just some random cousin. He was the grandson of the Shun family's grand elder, the most powerful branch family figure, and he'd been eyeing the main family's position for years. Then came the real bomb. Oh, and the family had also said that after the tournament. You will be given to me as my wife. The way he looked at her, like a predator who'd already caught his prey, made my skin crawl, and it wasn't even directed at me. Jingxue went white as a ghost. Then this genius turned to me, the masked stranger sitting quietly in the corner, and delivered what he probably thought was a devastating insult. You, masked guy, you can leave now. A rat who won't even show his face thinks he can touch Jingxue? Go find a puddle and take a good look at what you actually are. Okay. So, here's the thing. 5 minutes ago, I genuinely did not care about any of this. Shin family politics? Not my circus. Marriage proposal? Wasn't really feeling it. I was fully prepared to politely decline, finish my tea, and go home. But then this guy opened his mouth, and something in my brain went, you know what? Actually, I slowly sat up straight. Originally, I said, nice and casual, I had zero interest in Miss Shun. But since you put it that way, I let the pause hang in the air like a guillotine blade. Sorry, but Miss Shin? I'll be taking her now, dead. Silence. Jingxue stared at me like I'd just sprouted a second head. Shinhai buffered for about 2 seconds, then went full volcano. What did you say? You're dead. He exploded with his fresh Khanate realm energy, lunged at me claws first, aiming straight for my mask. Probably wanted to rip it off for dramatic effect. His fingers got within an inch of my face. I moved. Nobody saw how. Smack. One slap. Open palm. Maximum disrespect. Shinhai's body did a full 720-degree aerial rotation, 2 complete spins. For those keeping score, spraying teeth and blood in a beautiful spiral pattern as he rocketed into the wall and crumpled to the floor like a bag of wet laundry. Every single person in the room turned to stone. His bodyguards, brain offline. Jingxue, eyes like dinner plates. The old woman bodyguard behind her, genuinely impressed. One slap. The guy who was just bragging about his Khanate realm breakthrough, the Shin family's greatest young hope, got launched across the room by a casual backhand. I strolled over to where he was lying face down, lifted my foot, and gently placed it on his face. Gave it a little twist. Now you can go look in a mirror. AGH. You hit me. I'll kill you. Annoying. I pressed down a tiny bit harder. Crack. His cheekbone caved in. The screaming turned into whimpering. He was flailing around, but couldn't move. My foot might as well have been a mountain. My grandfather is the Shun family grand elder. You're done. He'll destroy you. Oh no. I'm so scared. I said this in the flattest, most bored voice possible while applying more pressure to his face. His bones were making those crunchy sounds that really make you wince. I'm literally trembling. Then I moved my foot to his stomach and stomped. A visible shockwave of energy burst out of his body. I had just shattered his dantian, his energy core, the thing that held all his cultivation together. Gone. Crushed like a grape. No. His scream was something else. Pure despair. Because he understood what had just happened. Everything he'd worked for, his Khanate realm breakthrough from literally yesterday, his position, his future, his entire identity as a martial genius. All of it had just been kicked out of his body by some guy in a mask. From today onward, he wasn't just not a genius. He was less than an ordinary person. A complete zero. Couldn't cultivate even if he wanted to. One day as a Khanate realm prodigy. That might be a record for shortest career ever. Jingxue watched the whole thing with a complicated expression. She hated the guy, sure, but she also knew that turning the branch family star player into a vegetable was going to cause some serious family drama. Get him out of here. He's making the room ugly. I didn't even look at him. Willow appeared from nowhere. That woman had impeccable timing, and her guards dragged Shanhai and his shell-shocked bodyguards out like trash bags. Quiet again, sir. Jingxue looked at me with that complex expression again. Shanhai's grandfather is extremely protective. He will come after you. Pause. Then her eyes hardened with determination. But if you marry me, my branch of the family will protect you. Pass on the marriage, I said, waving my hand and pouring myself some tea like I hadn't just destroyed a man's entire future 30 seconds ago. And I'm not interested in representing your family either. She was confused now, visibly, genuinely confused. I'd just made a mortal enemy of the Shun family's most powerful elder by crippling his grandson, then turned down the only protection being offered to me. What was my game? She was still trying to figure me out when I spoke again. However, since you've been so sincere about all this, I'll do you a small favor. What favor? I put down my tea, looked her dead in those confused, frost-colored eyes, and said the 6 words that turned her entire world upside down. I can let you start cultivating. I can let you start cultivating. Those 6 words hit Shin Jingxue like a freight train made of impossible dreams. Her Ice Queen mask shattered. For the first time and probably ever, genuine shock plastered across her face. Her old bodyguard lady practically teleported forward, shaking like a chihuahua on espresso. Is that true? See? Jingxue being unable to cultivate was the worst-kept secret in high society. Her family had tried everything. Every doctor, every miracle worker, every royal pharmacist. The verdict was always the same. Sealed meridians, zero hope, permanent martial disability. That's why she was stuck in this humiliating position. Eldest daughter of a great house, but basically a decorative vase with no power. And here I was, some random masked dude, casually telling her I could fix the unfixable. Of course it's true, I said, sipping my tea like a gentleman. I never lie. But the method is a little unusual. Name it, the old woman practically screamed. Whatever rare treasures you need, the Shin family will find them even if it bankrupts us. Don't need treasures. I held up one finger and waggled it. Then I looked at Jingxue's beautiful face, flushed with hope, eyes sparkling for the first time, and with the most casual delivery in human history, I said, I just need Miss Shun to sleep with me. The room temperature dropped to absolute 0. Insolent wretch, the old bodyguard exploded. Primordial spirit realm pressure crashed down on me like a tsunami. She was fully prepared to rip me into confetti right then and there. You dare insult my lady? I'll tear you to pieces. Her terrifying aura, the kind that would make golden core experts soil themselves, hit me square on. I didn't even blink. If I actually wanted to do something to her, I said, barely glancing at the old woman. Do you really think you could stop me? She was about to lunge when Willow's voice cut through like a blade. Touch my VIP guest and find out what happens. An even more terrifying pressure slammed down on the old woman, making her cough blood and rethink every decision that led her to this moment. Willow wasn't playing. Meanwhile, Jingxue's face went through the entire color spectrum. White with shock, red with humiliation. Her lips were pressed so tight they might fuse together, and her chest was heaving like she'd just sprinted a mile. Don't push me too far, she hissed through her teeth. Push you? I stood up and walked over to her, looking down into those furious, frost-colored eyes. Miss Shen, let's get one thing clear. You need me, not the other way around. I told you, this is the only method. Then, and I'll admit this was pretty bold, I reached out and tilted her chin up with one finger. Her skin was ice-cold and silk-smooth. I leaned in close to her ear and whispered, believe it or don't, think it over. When you decide, you know where to find me. I let go, turned around, and walked out without looking back. Was I being a jerk? Maybe. Was I telling the truth? Absolutely. Little Ling had confirmed that dual cultivation with the Yin-Yang Creation Tower could blast through her seal. The method really did require close physical cooperation. I wasn't making it up. I was just enjoying the delivery a little too much. Willow followed me out, leaving behind a room containing one emotionally devastated ice princess and one furious old woman who really wanted to murder me, but was afraid of getting murdered first. In the hallway, Willow was giggling so hard she could barely walk. Young Master Chu, you are absolutely terrible. Tricking that poor girl like that. Didn't trick her. It's the truth. We reached the top of the staircase, about to head down, when a group came walking up from below. Leading them was, oh great, another rich pretty boy. This one was wearing silk robes so fancy they probably had their own servants. Purple jade crown on his head. Face like a statue. Body language that screamed, I am better than you and everyone else in this building, this city, and possibly this planet. Behind him, multiple bodyguards, every single one golden core realm or above. This guy traveled with a personal army. The second Willow saw him, her playful smile froze on her face. First time I'd seen her look anything other than perfectly composed. And the moment he saw her, his eyes lit up like someone had plugged him into a wall socket. Ryan, it's been so long. I've missed you so much. He rushed forward with the familiarity of someone who believed he was already her boyfriend, reaching out to caress her face like he owned it. Willow dodged, subtle, smooth, but definitely a dodge. Young Master Long, please maintain appropriate distance. Her voice went cold for the first time ever. This was the woman who smiled while discussing international assassin organizations. And this guy made her ice up? That's impressive in the worst way. The young Master Long noticed her rejection and his expression flickered dark. Then he spotted me standing right next to her, and his eyes narrowed into slits. Who's this? I was about to introduce myself. Probably something witty. I had a few options ready, when Willow did something that nearly made me swallow my own tongue. She grabbed my arm, pressed herself against me, and with the sweetest, most affectionate voice I'd ever heard come out of her devastating mouth, announced, He's my man. Excuse me? I'm sorry, what? 5 minutes ago, I was proposing indecent sleeping arrangements to an ice princess, and now the most beautiful woman in the city is publicly claiming me as her boyfriend? I didn't sign up for this. I mean, I'm not complaining, but I would have appreciated a heads up. My arm is currently sandwiched between, you know what, never mind. Focus, chew foam. Focus. The look on young Master Long's face was absolutely worth whatever nightmare this was about to turn into. He's my man. Willow said those words, and the hallway turned into a freezer. Pretty Crown Boy's face went from lovesick puppy to murder mode, so fast I'm surprised he didn't get whiplash. His eyes were screaming, I will end everything you love, Ryan. Do you know what you're saying? His voice dropped into that scary quiet register that means someone's about to lose their mind. Now, a smart person would have played it cool. Maintained the act with a subtle nod, maybe a casual arm squeeze. Something diplomatic. I am not a smart person. I grabbed Willow by the waist, pulled her in, and kissed her. Right on the lips. Full contact. In front of everyone. Soft. Sweet. Smelled like heaven decided to become a person. Willow's soul visibly left her body. Those man-eating peach blossom eyes went round. Her brain made an audible Windows shutdown noise. She had set this trap expecting me to play along like a good little prop, and instead I went full method actor. I pulled back, smacked my lips appreciatively, and turned to Crown Boy with the laziest eyebrow raise in history. Believe it now? I'll kill you. He detonated. Golden Core Realm energy erupted off him like a bomb, and he launched a fist at my face with enough force to crack the sound barrier. Willow tried to step in, but I pushed her aside. Gently. Against this guy? Don't need a woman's help. My Chaos Divine Demon technique kicked into overdrive. Divine Demon body at full power. I met his fist with mine. Boom. Shockwave. Furniture everywhere. Walls rattling. I skidded back 3 or 4 steps, arm tingling like I'd punched a lightning bolt. Blood churning. But he also stumbled back 3 steps. And his face? Priceless. Pure, unfiltered, does not compute. Meridian opening realm? He stared at me like I was a math equation that equaled purple. Your meridian opening, and you just tanked my punch. Buddy was Golden Core second stage. Even at 50% power, a meridian opening cultivator blocking that should be physically impossible. Like a bicycle racing a fighter jet and keeping up. What is this about, Long? Fighting in MY establishment. Willow had recovered her composure and was now radiating enough killing intent to flatten a city block. Her Golden Core bodyguards looked like they were about to faint from her pressure alone. Crown Boy reined himself in, but the look he gave me could have curdled milk at 50 paces. Last chance, Lu Ryan. Dump this pretty boy. Be my woman, or I'll shut down your precious little auction house. The Long family keeps its promises. Oh wow, big threats, I said, massaging my numb wrist and picking my ear with the other hand. And who the hell do you think you are? Insolent. I am the eldest son of the Long family, head of the 5 great families. Long out yen. You dare disrespect my clan? I'm sorry. His name is Long Outyin, Dragon Proud Heaven. That is literally the most cliché, overpowered protagonist name in the entire history of Chinese fiction. This man's parents looked at a baby and said, "Let's name him after every power fantasy novel ever written." I almost laughed out loud. Almost. Another one of the 5 great families? I roll my eyes. You people really think you're hot stuff, huh? This is the capital. Nobody's impressed by your family name here. Kill him. Feed him to the dogs. His guards moved to attack. Willow shut them down with one look. Her power hit them like a freight train. They stumbled backward, white-faced, suddenly realizing they'd brought knives to a nuke fight. Then a gray-robed old man appeared behind Long Outyin like a ghost. A grandmaster, from the feel of it. Young master, enough. This woman is more than she appears. The Misty Rain Pavilion's backing goes deeper than we thought. Not wise to fight here. Long Outyin ground his teeth hard enough to make diamond dust, but he listened. He gave me one last death stare, the kind that says, "I'm going to find you, I'm going to hurt you, and I'm going to enjoy it. You are dead. Nobody on heaven or earth can save you from Long Outyin." And he stormed off. You know, for a guy named Dragon Proud Heaven, he sure does a lot of retreating. After he left, Willow turned to me with those devastating eyes, looking genuinely concerned. And maybe a tiny bit guilty. "Are you all right, young master?" "Perfectly fine," I walked up to her with a grin. "But you used me as a human shield, and now I've got an enemy whose name sounds like a bad novel protagonist. I think you owe me some compensation." "Oh." She stepped closer, breath warm as flowers. "And what kind of compensation does the young master desire?" "Simple." I pulled her into my arms again. "I want you." She froze for half a second, then giggled and slithered out of my grip like a beautiful snake. Young master is such a joker. Any other compensation, I'm happy to provide. But that one, I'm afraid not. Shame, I shrugged and headed for the stairs. The kiss was already more than I'd expected to get out of today. Know when to cash out. That's my motto. Now here's the part one didn't see, but it explains a lot about why Willow was the way she was. The second I disappeared down those stairs, apparently some scary dude in black materialized behind her like a horror movie villain. "Lu Ruyan, your talent for seducing men hasn't diminished, I see." Willow's entire personality did a 180. Flirty goddess? Gone. She was bowing. Respectfully. Nervously. Ruyan greets Lord Zwa. This, Lord Zwa, basically told her to remember her place, that she belonged to some young master, and to cut out any unnecessary feelings unless she wanted consequences. Willow actually trembled. This woman who intimidated grandmasters and ran the most powerful auction house in the capital was afraid of whoever this young master was. Then he handed her a sealed letter with new orders. She read one line, and her face went dark. So the most beautiful woman I'd ever kissed was secretly someone else's property, working under orders from some mysterious, terrifying organization, and probably couldn't actually be with me, even if she wanted to. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. My love life is a minefield, and I keep tap dancing through it with my eyes closed. But you know what? That kiss was still worth it. I walked out of the Misty Rain Pavilion humming a tune, still savoring the taste of that kiss. Willow was truly top tier. 5 stars. Would recommend. I was about to take off my mask and head home when, surprise, surprise, a dozen shadows popped out of nowhere and surrounded me. Leading the ambush party? Long Outyin, Dragon Proud Heaven himself. The man whose name sounds like a parody of every power fantasy novel ever written, and whose face currently looked like a crumpled piece of hate mail. "Didn't expect this, did you?" he snarled. "I can't touch you inside the pavilion, but out here? You're mine." Break his arms, his legs, cut out his tongue, gouge out his eyes. I want him to wish he was dead. His dozen-plus golden core guards drew their weapons and lunged. "Who dares touch my young master?" A thunderclap of a voice. And then big guy cratered into the ground in front of me like a golden meteor. The pavement cracked into spiderweb patterns under his feet. He stood there radiating dragon-level murder energy, and every single guard suddenly looked like they needed a bathroom break. One guard attacked anyway, swung a steel sword at Big Guy's face. Big Guy didn't even look, just casually swatted it. The sword shattered like a pretzel. Then his fist connected with the guard's chest. The man's entire ribcage collapsed inward. His body flew backward and literally turned into red mist before hitting the ground. One punch. Golden Core third stage. vaporized. The remaining guards attacked in formation because apparently watching their friend become a cloud hadn't been educational enough. What followed was, well, imagine a rhinoceros in a room full of balloons. Big guy just charged in. Punching, kicking, headbutting. Zero technique, zero finesse. All power. Swords bounced off his skin without leaving a scratch. But when his fists connected, people stopped being people and started being modern art. 10 breaths. A dozen plus golden core fighters who could individually terrorize entire cities. All dead. The street looked like a slaughterhouse. Long Out Yin's legs buckled. The great dragon Proud Heaven looked like he was about to wet his dragon proud pants. His grandmaster bodyguard, Old Wu, finally opened his eyes, looking genuinely concerned for the first time. Who are you? He demanded, staring at Big Guy. You're not worthy of knowing, Big Guy rumbled. Old Wu lost it. Insolent. His grandmaster pressure erupted, and he moved to attack. Then a hunched figure dragging a massive black blade materialized in the middle of the street like death itself had clocked in for work. Tyrant Blade. His killing intent locked onto Old Wu so hard that the grandmaster literally couldn't move a finger. Every hair on his body stood up. His soul was screaming, run, but his legs had already surrendered. You're the Tyrant Blade? The #1 most wanted criminal from 30 years ago. Tyrant Blade said nothing, just stood there. His massive blade carved a deep groove into the stone road. Old Wu's heart hit rock bottom. Done. Cooked. Finished. And me? I strolled up to Long Out Yin, who was now the approximate color of a corpse. Slap. One beautiful backhand across his pretty face. He spun twice. Half his face puffed up like a balloon. Blood from the corner of his mouth. You dare. Slap. Other cheek. Symmetry is important. The Long family. Very scary. Much impressive. Slap. Acting tough in front of me. Slap. Who gave you the courage? Slap. Was it Liang Jingru? That's a singer. Her hit song is literally called Courage, comedy gold, and nobody in this world appreciated it. Who are you? He screamed, completely unraveled. I leaned in close to his swollen ear and whispered my name like a bedtime story. Marquis household. Chu. Feng. His body went rigid. His brain visibly crashed. Chu Feng. The famous useless playboy. The kingdom's #1 wastrel. This was the guy who just had him slapped silly while a legendary serial killer and a golden human tank stood guard? Want revenge? I patted his puffy cheek sweetly. My door's always open. Come visit anytime. Then I walked away. Big Guy on my left, Blue Bird on my right, and Tyrant Blade drifting behind me like the world's most terrifying shadow. Just a casual afternoon stroll with my entourage of nightmares. Behind me, I could practically hear Long Out Yin grinding his remaining teeth into powder, swearing eternal vengeance. Take a number, buddy. The revenge line starts behind the Emperor, the Yang family, the 5th Prince, the Shin family Grand Elder, and whatever's left of the Blood Fiend Hall. I'll get to you eventually. Meanwhile, and I heard about this later, things were happening at the Duke's mansion. Yi Hongwan emerged from a secret underground training chamber, and she had broken through to Void Realm. My fiancée went from terrifyingly strong to extinction-level event in a few days. Her grandpa was weeping tears of joy. Even better, her brother Yi Hao, after taking the marrow-cleansing pill I'd given her, had completely transformed. His talent was now off the charts, and he'd already rocketed to Qi Gathering 9th stage. The kid went from family embarrassment to actual prodigy overnight. My wedding gift was paying dividends. Investment Chu Feng strikes again. Then Grandpa Yi brought up the news that the dragon rankings had been moved up by half a month. Only 5 days left. That Chu boy was too arrogant, the old man sighed sympathetically. If he'd kept the pill for himself, he might have had a chance. Now, he's finished. No one can go from nobody to top 10 in 5 days. It's a death sentence. Yi Hongwan heard this, and her face stayed frozen. But something weird happened inside that glacier. She wasn't happy about it. She should have been relieved. The arranged marriage to a useless wastrel was about to solve itself. I'd die on the tournament stage, and she'd be free. Problem solved. Clean break. But instead of relief, she felt annoyed, irritated, restless. She didn't understand why. I'll tell you why, Ice Queen. It's because deep down, past all that frost and murder intent, some tiny part of you is starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, the useless playboy, Who handed you 100 spirit stone pill without blinking, called you, my woman, in front of the entire city, and promised to make top 10. That might actually be worth keeping around. 5 days to prove it. No pressure. While I was busy slapping rich kids and kissing auction house owners, the entire world was apparently losing its mind over that map fragment I bought. Let me paint you a picture of just how many people now wanted me dead. First up, the Blood Fiend Hall, in their lovely palace made of giant monster bones somewhere in the Nether Sea. Their elders were having a collective meltdown because my dad turned their guy into red mist. How dare some backwater kingdom kill our elder? Let me personally lead an army to turn their family into blood slaves for eternity. Their boss, sitting on a literal throne of bones with creepy red snake eyes, gave the order, send the blood guard to our kingdom. Get the map. Kill anyone in the way. So that's nice. An international crime syndicate's elite kill squad was coming for us. Added to the list. Then, on some other spooky island in the Nether Sea, it turned out the Shadow Tower's master had a teacher. Some ancient gray-robed freak who'd been meditating so long he'd forgotten his own students' names. When he heard his disciples' organization got wiped out and there was a Spirit King map involved, the old monster practically levitated with excitement. I've been searching for this map for centuries. Send my 3rd and 4th disciples. Get the map. And kill whoever destroyed the Shadow Tower. Centuries. This fossil had been hunting for this map for centuries, and now he knew exactly which family had it. Then, because apparently my suffering needed international participation, the Great Flame Dynasty got involved. This was a kingdom that made ours look like a lemonade stand. Their emperor was playing chess with his second prince when the news arrived. The prince volunteered to personally come take our map. Father, let me go retrieve it for you. Don't disappoint me. So now I had a foreign prince with an army coming for my stuff. Fan-freaking-tastic. Every ancient power, every hidden monster, every dusty old weirdo who'd been sitting in a cave for centuries. All of them were now staring at our little kingdom like vultures circling a wounded rabbit. And the rabbit was me. Meanwhile, back in reality, things were actually going my way for once. In a quietened room, Shun Jingxue was having the internal debate of a lifetime. Her old bodyguard was trying to talk her out of it. That masked pervert was obviously lying to take advantage of you. His method is absurd. Jingxue said nothing, just gripped her teacup. Then her brother Shenlang burst in screaming about how the Grand Elder was going nuclear over his grandson being crippled. The whole family was in chaos, and they needed to go back immediately. You go first, Jingxue said calmly. What? I said go. After he left, she turned to her bodyguard with the expression of someone who'd stopped caring about the risks and started caring about survival. Contact the Misty Rain Pavilion. Tell them I accept. Young lady, you can't. It's my only option. Her voice was flat. If I go home now, I face a furious Grand Elder and a family that already considers me worthless. They'll marry me off to some stranger to calm things down. That's my entire future, a sacrificial lamb I can't cultivate. But I refuse to accept that fate. She looked out the window, and for the first time, actual fire burned in those frost-colored eyes. I have a feeling. He wasn't lying. I'm willing to bet everything on it. Gotta respect the guts on this woman. She was choosing the masked weirdo who asked her to sleep with him over the certainty of a slow death by family politics. That's either incredible bravery or incredible desperation. Probably both. Over at the Long family mansion, Dragon Proud Heaven was sobbing to his daddy about how I slapped him around. Papa Long smashed an expensive vase and started ranting. The Chu family thinks they can touch my son? Do they want a war? Then he calmed down and came up with the same brilliant plan literally everyone else had. Kill me at the Dragon Rankings. Your son announced he's going for top 10? Perfect. You will kill him on stage. In front of everyone. Make him beg. Make him suffer. And the Chu family can't say a word. It's a tournament. Deaths happen. Brilliant. Father, Long Outyin screamed, suddenly happy again. The mood swings on this guy could give you whiplash. So let me update my people who want to kill me at the Dragon Rankings list. The Emperor, the Yang family, the Long family, probably the 5th prince, definitely some random ambitious idiots looking to make a name. Am I missing anyone? Probably. At this point I should just sell tickets. That evening, a message arrived from the Misty Rain Pavilion. Shen Jingxue had accepted. I smiled, put on my mask, and headed to her inn. Was I taking advantage of the situation? Maybe a little. Was I also genuinely going to help her? Absolutely. Little Ling confirmed it. The dual cultivation method through the Yin-Yang Creation Tower really could break her seal. She'd get to cultivate for the first time in her life, and I'd get a massive power boost. Win-win. The fact that the win-win involved sleeping with a beautiful ice princess was just a bonus. A very nice bonus. 5 days until the dragon rankings. Half the world wanting my head. An army of enemies waiting to kill me on stage. Better power up fast. She was waiting for me when I arrived. White sleeping gown. Sitting on the edge of the bed. Looking like she'd made peace with either the best or worst decision of her life. That was fast, I said, closing the door behind me. I chose to trust you, she said, chin up, eyes steady. Then, but before we begin, may I know who you really are? Fair enough. I reached up and pulled off the bronze mask. Her brain crashed instantly. Chew. Chew foam. The look on her face was like someone had told her that water was actually dry. Every gear in her head was grinding against every other gear. The kingdom's most famous useless playboy was the masked prodigy who killed Khanate realm fighters. The guy she'd just agreed to sleep with was her friend's fiancé. So the great, #1 wastrel was hiding this deep. She finally managed. You fooled the entire world. Then her eyes got suspicious. Aren't you worried about General Yi finding out about this? Why, Miss Shin? Jealous? Want to be my wife too? I leaned in close. My breath hit her ear. She turned the color of a tomato and tried to scoot backward. If you're lying to me, she said, biting her lip and desperately trying to maintain dignity, the Shin family will come for you, Marquis' son or not, whether I'm lying. I smiled. You're about to find out, and then I kissed her. Let's fast forward 30 minutes. Right at the critical moment, and I do mean the critical moment, boom. An explosion went off inside Shun Jingshua's body. A force like a volcano that had been sleeping for 20 years erupted all at once. A beam of divine light punched through the roof, punched through the night sky, and turned the entire capital city bright as noon. Every sleeping person in the city woke up. Every meditating expert snapped their eyes open. Everyone stared at this pillar of light shooting into the heavens and thought the same thing. Is this a legendary treasure? A monster being born? What is happening? Outside the room, old Granny Lin was standing guard and just broke. Complete system failure. Mouth open, eyes glazed. Her young lady had gone in there to sleep with a mysterious masked man, and now there was a beam of light shooting into space. As for me, that eruption of power launched me across the room. I slammed into the wall and had to peel myself off like a cartoon character. What the, master? We hit the jackpot. Little Ling was screaming in my head at maximum volume. This bloodline power is insanely pure. This is a noble grade bloodline. What now? Bloodlines rank from common, spirit, king, emperor, noble, saint, to sovereign, 7 tiers. Noble grade means somewhere in her ancestry, there was a supreme realm powerhouse. An actual supreme. My heart nearly punched through my chest. But wait, Little Ling's excitement turned confused. This doesn't make sense. The Shin family is just a few hundred-year-old mundane house. There's no way they produced a supreme. Her real identity must be something else entirely. So Shun Jingshua wasn't actually a Shun? She was secretly some kind of cosmic princess with a hidden supreme-tier bloodline that someone had deliberately sealed inside her, disguising her as an ordinary girl who couldn't cultivate? This world, I swear. Meanwhile, the room was turning into an ice cave. Freezing energy was pouring off Jingshua's body, coating everything in thick frost. Tables, chairs, walls, floor, all frozen solid in seconds. My teeth were chattering so hard I thought they'd crack. I had to crank the Chaos Divine Demon technique to maximum just to avoid becoming a popsicle. Somewhere in an unknown dimension, some mysterious figure sitting on a black lotus sensed the seal breaking and absolutely freaked out. The seal is broken? How? Has her identity been discovered? He vanished instantly. Coming this way, presumably. Great. Another future problem. Outside the inn, powerful fighters were arriving from every direction, drawn to the light beam like moths to a nuclear explosion. What incredible energy! Who's breaking through in there? Then Tyrant Blade appeared in front of all of them. Said one word. Scram. His death blade intent hit them like a tsunami of pure terror. Every single, powerful expert turned white, made very respectful eye contact with each other, and collectively decided that actually, they had somewhere else to be. Very far away. Immediately. My bodyguard is the best bodyguard. Back inside, the light finally absorbed back into Jingshua's body. The ice melted. Everything calmed down. She opened her eyes. Ice crystals were literally flowing through her irises. She radiated a natural nobility and majesty that hadn't been there before, like someone who'd been wearing a costume her entire life and finally took it off. Her cultivation? In the span of minutes, she'd rocketed from zero, a complete non-cultivator, straight through body refinement, chi gathering, meridian opening, and landed at Khanate realm. Third stage. From nothing to Khanate 3 in one session. That's not riding a rocket. That's riding a rocket that's strapped to another rocket that's being launched from a cannon on a third, bigger rocket. She stared at her own hands, feeling the power surging through her body for the first time in nearly 20 years. The impossible had happened. She could cultivate. She was strong. Told you I wasn't lying, I said with my best smug grin. She looked at me with eyes that held everything: gratitude, shock, shyness, and about 19 other emotions fighting for space on her face. That frozen heart of hers had just melted completely. I saved the thank you speech. I walked toward her with a very specific look. That last round wasn't finished. We're going again. Her face went so red it could have stopped traffic. She didn't say no. In fact, she kissed me back. On her own. Shyly, clumsily, but definitely on purpose. Round 2. This time, with her seal completely shattered, the noble-grade bloodline energy flowing through her mixed perfectly with my chaos divine demon energy. Yin and yang in perfect harmony. Creation at its finest. Power, 100 times more than before, flooded into every cell of my body. My meridians expanded. My divine demon body got refined to a whole new level. And my cultivation barriers? Felt like dominoes. Meridian opening 9th stage peak. Shattered. Khanate realm 1st stage. 2nd stage. 3rd stage. 4th stage. I went from meridian opening to Khanate realm 4th stage in one night. For major breakthroughs, my power was at least 10 times what it was this morning. And deep in my soul space, the Yin-Yang Creation Tower's 1st level was glowing brighter than it ever had before. Let me just take a moment to appreciate the absolute absurdity of my life. I gained 4 cultivation levels by sleeping with a beautiful woman whose secret supreme tier bloodline turned out to be the world's most powerful energy drink. This is either the greatest cultivation technique ever invented, or the universe is just trolling me. Either way, I'm not complaining. 5 days until the dragon rankings. And I just quadrupled my power overnight. Bring it on. Morning sunlight poured through the window that no longer existed because someone's bloodline explosion had blown it to pieces last night. I stretched and felt like a completely new person. Khanate realm 4th stage. 4 whole breakthroughs in one night. My body was basically humming with power like a tuning fork made of lightning. Jingxue was curled up next to me, sleeping peacefully. Her ice queen face had thawed into something actually soft and human. Flushed cheeks, tired eyelashes fluttering. Looking like a woman who had just had the most life-changing night in the history of life-changing nights. She opened her eyes. We stared at each other. The silence was loaded. Her face went red instantly. She tried to sit up, but her body was basically jelly. 0 strength remaining. The most powerful noble-grade bloodline in existence. And she couldn't lift herself off a pillow. Morning, I said, and kissed her forehead. She made a sound like a kitten and buried her face in the blanket. The great ice princess of the Shin family, hiding under covers because she was too embarrassed to make eye contact. Beautiful. A knock interrupted the moment. Granny Lin at the door. When the old woman saw Jingxue, specifically, sensed the rock-solid Khanate realm energy radiating off her previously unable to cultivate young lady. Her brain experienced a complete factory reset. She looked at me with an expression that was 50% awe, 30% gratitude, and 20%, I called you a pervert yesterday, and I deeply regret that. Then she delivered the bad news. Back home, the Grand Elder was using his grandson's crippling as an excuse to launch a full political coup against Jingshue's father. Jingxue read the letter, and her Ice Queen mode re-engaged at maximum frost. He dares. I need to go back to the Shun estate, she said, looking at me. I'm coming with you, I said without thinking. She blinked. You don't have to. You're Khanate realm now, sure, But that's not enough against a family full of angry elders, I said, reaching over and pinching her still blushing cheek. You're my woman now. I'm not sending you back into a snake pit alone. Something shifted behind her eyes. This was probably the first time in her entire life that someone had just stepped up for her. No conditions. No negotiations. Just, I'm coming. Deal with it. She didn't argue. Smart girl. We headed out. But the second we stepped outside the inn, oh, wonderful. The entire street was locked down. Dozens of Imperial secret police in their fancy uniforms, swords drawn, blocking every exit. And in the middle of their formation stood Tyrant Blade, Big Guy, and Blue Bird, already squared up and ready for violence. For Imperial commanders in Chelan robes were staring down Tyrant Blade with the confidence of men who didn't realize they were about to die. Tyrant Blade, 30 years ago you became the kingdom's most wanted criminal. Surrender now, and we'll go easy on you. Tyrant Blade didn't even lift an eyelid, just looked at them like they were already in coffins. You lot? Please. Then things escalated further, because of course they did. A Grand Master walked out from behind the soldiers, Wei Zheng, Deputy Commander of the Imperial Secret Police. His every step synced with the pulse of heaven and earth. Serious power. This is the capital, the Emperor's domain. Even you can't escape, Wei Zheng said with the gravity of a man who believed he was in charge. Tyrant Blade's hand tightened on his blade. Death energy started condensing around him. This was about to get very messy. Tyrant Blade is MY family's man now. You can all leave. That was me. Strolling out of the inn, holding Jingshue's hand, looking like I'd just woken up from the best nap of my life. Which, technically, I had. One of the commanders nearly had an aneurysm. Chu Feng, you're harboring a wanted criminal. This is treason. Wei Zheng's face darkened. Young Master Chu, shielding a fugitive goes against imperial law. Not even the Marquis household can bear that charge. I picked my ear and gave him my most bored expression. I said what I said. He's ours. We're keeping him. Got a problem with that. You want him back? I tilted my head and smiled the smile of a man whose father kills celestial phenomenon experts for fun. Go to the Marquis mansion. Ask my dad. Or ask my grandpa. See if either of them gives you the time of day. Silence. Wei Zheng's face went through several shades of ugly. Go ask Marquis Chu Tianlong, the man who solo-deleted an entire assassin organization last week. Or old Duke Chu Qingsong, who was so crazy he'd cuss out the emperor to his face. You could literally see the survival math happening behind Wei Zheng's eyes. We're leaving, I announced, and just walked through their blockade. Tyrant Blade, Big Guy, Blue Bird, Jingxue, all of us strolling right through dozens of armed elite soldiers like they were a line at a noodle shop. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Nobody dared. After we disappeared around the corner, one commander sputtered, Sir, we're just letting them go? The Chu family is out of control. Wei Zheng turned and fixed him with a stare that could curdle blood. Did you forget what happened to Third Squad's riders? The ones who tried to surveil the Chu boy? The commander went white. Right. Those guys. The ones Dad turned into pavement. This is above our pay grade, Wei Zheng growled. We report to the Emperor. Let him deal with it. Good luck with that, buddy. The Emperor's already tried scheming against me, and all he got was a shorter tournament schedule and a missing spy team. We arrived at the Shun family estate. Massive, gorgeous, dripping with centuries of old money. But inside the main hall, it was a political war zone. The Grand Elder, Shun Wanshan, was red-faced and raging, slamming tables and demanding Jingshue's father step down as family head. Your daughter crippled my grandson. My only hope for the family's future. You're unfit to lead. A chorus of bootlicking elders joined in, all shouting for the family head to resign. It was a full-blown coup, and Jingshue's dad, a refined, dignified man named Shin Yunshan, was sitting there turning purple with fury but unable to fight back. Then, cutting through the chaos like a blade through silk, came the voice that made every person in that hall shut their mouth. Whether my father deserves to be family head is not for you to decide, Grand Elder. Cold. Clean. Absolute zero. Jingxue had arrived, and she was not here to negotiate. I hung back at the entrance, leaning against a pillar, watching my girl walk into battle. This was her fight. Her family. Her moment. But if that Grand Elder so much as looked at her wrong, well, I'd already crippled his grandson. Might as well make it a family tradition. Jingxua walked into that family hall like a white-dressed angel of vengeance, and I strolled in behind her like I owned the place. Which I didn't. But attitude is everything. Her dad spotted her and looked complicated. The grand elder spotted her and looked furious. "You dare show your face," Shin Wanshan roared, his grandmaster pressure exploding outward as he lunged for her. "Touch her and find out what happens," I said, yawning. He froze and glared at me. "Who the hell are you?" I gave him my biggest, friendliest smile. "Oh, me? I'm the guy who crippled your grandson." The hall erupted like I'd thrown a grenade into a beehive. "That's him. Kill the brat." Shin Wanshan's eyes went blood red and his palm came screaming toward my skull with full grandmaster force. "By the way," Jingxua said, voice cold as liquid nitrogen, "he's the heir of the Marquis of the North." That palm stopped half an inch from my forehead. The wind ruffled my hair dramatically. Very cinematic. The entire room blue-screened. You could practically hear dozens of brains simultaneously crashing. Marquis household. Chu Feng. The famous wastrel? Here? In their hall? After crippling their genius? Shun Wanshan's face twitched violently, but the man had more pride than sense. Marquis household? So what? We're one of the 5 great families. Even the royal family respects us. Your pathetic little military house means nothing. Wow, big talk, I said, picking my ear. Then I turned to my shadow. Tyrant Blade. Teach him manners. Tyrant Blade stepped forward. He just lifted his blade. The temperature in the room dropped so hard I'm surprised people's breath didn't turn visible. Every person in that hall felt their soul trying to crawl out through their feet. Pure, concentrated, absolute death intent saturated the air. Then he swung. One cut. No flashy blade energy. No light show. Just a simple slash that seemed to swallow all light and sound in its path. Shun Wanshan went full panic mode, dumped every drop of his grandmaster energy into layered shields in front of his body. They peeled apart like tissue paper. One arm. Gone. Severed clean at the shoulder. Blood everywhere. He flew backward and cracked a stone pillar. Grandmaster? No, you're beyond that. What are you? One casual swing had just dismembered a veteran grandmaster. The room full of elders who'd been screaming for blood 5 seconds ago were now cosplaying as statues. How dare you? In our own home, 7 or 8. Ancient elders, the Shun family's hidden reserves, all Grandmaster 6th stage or above, burst out from the back and formed a battle formation around the wounded Grand Elder. Combined power, coordinated attack, ancient formation techniques. Tyrant Blade looked at all of them with the same expression he uses for everything. None. He just raised his blade again. Blood was about to paint the ceiling. Enough. One word. Quiet. Old. And carrying the weight of the actual universe. Everything stopped. The battle formation froze mid-activation. The violent energy in the room just smoothed out, like someone had ironed reality. Then a pressure descended on the hall that made Tyrant Blade's killing intent feel like a gentle breeze by comparison. The sky outside changed. Clouds spiraled. Spiritual energy gathered into a visible vortex above the estate. Celestial Phenomenon Realm. The Shin family's ultimate trump card. Their ancient ancestor who'd been in seclusion for nearly a century had woken up. Ancestor. Welcome back, great ancestor. Every Shin family member hit the floor like they'd been magnetically attracted to it. Kowtowing so hard, they probably bruised their foreheads. Out of the shadows shuffled the oldest, most dried-up human being I'd ever seen. He looked like someone had mummified a skeleton and then forgotten about it for a few decades. Sparse hair, withered body, leaning on a dragon-head cane, wearing plain hemp clothes. But every step he took subtly bent space around his feet. He glanced at Shun Wanshan's missing arm, then at Tyrant Blade, and his assessment was dismissive at best. Half a foot in the door of celestial phenomenon. Interesting, but ultimately self-taught. Nothing impressive. Shin Wanshan dragged himself over, weeping and bleeding. Ancestor. The Marquis household is bullying us. They crippled my grandson. Now they've come to our home and cut off my arm. They don't respect us at all. Marquis household. The old fossil squinted, trying to remember. Then he waved his hand like swatting a fly. Some military family with delusions of importance, daring to make trouble in my house. His ancient, terrifying gaze landed on me. A mountain of pressure crashed down. Not metaphorical. I literally felt like the entire sky was trying to flatten me into the floor. Every atom of air was pushing against me. This was what it felt like when someone who could control natural phenomena decided you should be kneeling. Foolish child. Since you've come, kneel and speak. My joints were creaking. My teeth were grinding. This old monster was trying to crush me with nothing but his presence, and honestly, it was working. This was way above anything I'd faced before. Tyrant Blade's face darkened and he raised his blade to intervene. Boom. An explosion of cold so intense it felt like the universe had developed frostbite erupted right beside me. Jingxue stepped in front of me. Her entire body was radiating ice energy. Her eyes had those ice crystals flowing through them again. And her Khanate realm third stage power, which should have been nothing against celestial phenomenon, somehow, impossibly, pushed back the old ancestor's pressure. What is that? Jingxue? She can cultivate? Since when? And she's Khanate realm. Her father and every elder in the room looked like their eyeballs were trying to escape their skulls. The girl they'd written off as permanently disabled was standing there radiating power that had no business existing. The old ancestor's dead fish expression actually changed for the first time in probably 50 years. He stared at Jingxue, sensing the energy pouring off her, and his ancient brain started processing. That bloodline power, that cold, that nobility baked into every particle of her being. This bloodline. Confusion flickered across his face. Then it was replaced by something much, much worse. Greed. Raw, naked, insane greed. He could feel it. Her noble-grade bloodline was infinitely more powerful and ancient than anything in the Shin family. If he could consume that power, absorb it, his century-long bottleneck could shatter. He might even glimpse the realm beyond celestial phenomenon. Ha ha ha. Heaven hasn't abandoned me. The old fossil threw his head back and cackled like a cartoon villain who'd finally found the secret ingredient. My dear granddaughter, come to your ancestor. Give me everything you have. His claw-like hand shot out, warping space itself, heading straight for the top of Jingxue's skull. He was going to drain her. Right here. Right now. His own family member. Like a vampire going after a juice box. Jingxue went white. She couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Against celestial phenomenon, her freshly awakened Khanate power was less than nothing. My heart was slamming against my ribs. Tyrant Blade roared and launched himself forward in a suicide charge. Too slow. Too late. That skeletal claw was inches from Jingxue's head, touched the young mistress, and died. A voice appeared from literally nowhere. Cold. Empty. Like it had been carved from the void itself. Okay, who was that? Because that definitely wasn't any of us. And whoever it was just called Jingxue, young mistress. Remember that mysterious figure on the Black Lotus who sensed her seal breaking and freaked out? Yeah, I think he just arrived. Slap. One slap. That's all it took. The Shun family's century-old ancestor. A celestial phenomenon realm immortal-level monster who'd just been flexing on all of us like he was God's cranky grandfather, got backhanded through a wall. Not punched. Not kicked. Not hit with a special technique. Slapped. Like a mosquito. Through solid stone. Gone. Didn't even see who did it. The silence that followed was so profound, I think time itself stopped to process what just happened. A figure in black stood where the old fossil used to be. Cold face. Zero emotion. He'd appeared from literally nowhere, swatted a celestial phenomenon expert into the next zip code, and was now bowing to Jingxue. Young mistress, are you all right, young mistress? Jingxue was just as confused as the rest of us. Who are you? The black-clothed man started to answer, but then his eyes drifted down to Jingxue, and his expression went from respectful servant to someone is about to die screaming. The young mistress's primordial purity has been broken. Oh no. Who? Who defiled the young mistress? His killing intent erupted like a supernova, and his eyes locked onto me with the precision of a guided missile. Was it you? 2 words. And suddenly I understood what it felt like to be a rabbit staring into the eyes of an ancient dragon. This man's pressure was worse than my dad's. My soul was literally trembling. Every survival instinct I had was screaming, "Write your will." Where do these people keep coming from? Is there a factory somewhere that mass-produces terrifying masters? Then, and I will love this woman forever for this. Jingxue stepped in front of me, spread her arms wide, and declared with absolute ice-cold certainty. He's my man. The black-clothed man's eyebrow twitched. His killing intent flickered. He looked at me like I was a cockroach that had somehow crawled into a royal banquet. A mere Khanate realm insect is worthy of the young mistress? You clearly used some underhanded trick to deceive her. Then, without any further discussion, he pointed 2 fingers at me, and a concentrated beam of black sword energy appeared 1 inch from the space between my eyes. OHSH, I couldn't dodge, couldn't block, couldn't do anything. This was death, delivered express, no signature required. But deep in my soul, the Yin-Yang Creation Tower said, absolutely not, and pulsed. A mysterious, indescribable energy flickered from my body for just a fraction of a second. The black sword energy, powerful enough to casually delete a grandmaster, hit an invisible wall 1 inch from my forehead and just crumbled, disintegrated into nothing. The black-clothed man's ice sculpture face actually cracked with surprise. He stared at me with genuine wariness. Whatever that flash of energy was, it had spooked him. A being who could one-shot celestial phenomenon experts was spooked by something inside me. Good. At least something about me is scary. I was starting to develop a complex. Touch him, and you'll have to kill me first. Jingxue spread her arms wider, shielding me completely. Zero fear in her eyes. This girl who couldn't cultivate 24 hours ago was facing down a god-level warrior for MY's sake. My heart did something weird. Might have been gratitude. Might have been terror. Probably both. The man stared at her for a long moment, then slowly lowered his hand. I exhaled so hard I think I deflated. My entire back was soaked with cold sweat. That was the closest I'd been to death since arriving in this world. Little Ling, what I asked this guy, I mentally screamed. Strong. Terrifyingly strong. Even Little Ling sounded shaken. His cultivation is several tiers above celestial phenomenon. Your girlfriend's background is way bigger than we thought. She's definitely not actually a Shun family member. Yeah, I'd figured that part out, thanks. Who are you? I asked the man directly. Jingxue looked at him with the same question in her eyes. What came next broke everyone's brains, including mine. The man bowed deeply to Jingxue and said, I am the captain of the Imperial Guard of the Ice Snow Divine Kingdom. Young mistress, you are the sole surviving bloodline of our empress. That excuse me? Years ago, our divine kingdom faced catastrophe. The empress, to protect her final hope, sealed your bloodline and hid you in this mortal family. You are not a Shun. You are a princess. Jingxue's body went rigid. She turned to her father, the man who'd raised her, with eyes full of desperation. Father, is this true? Shen Yunshan's face crumpled with guilt. Yes. 20 years ago, this man brought you to me as a baby. You're not my biological daughter. Jingxue turned white. Her entire identity, her whole life, had just been rewritten in 30 seconds. The girl I'd slept with last night wasn't just some noble family's eldest daughter with a sealed bloodline. She was the princess of an entire divine kingdom. I had accidentally seduced interdimensional royalty. This is either the greatest achievement of my life or the thing that gets me killed. Maybe both simultaneously. The black-clothed man then turned murderous eyes on Shen Yunshan. You failed to protect the young mistress. You deserve death. Stop, Jingxue shouted, shutting him down. She took a breath and addressed the room with the authority of someone who'd apparently been born to command nations. Whatever I really am, I grew up here. My name is Shin Jingxue. This is my family. The man nodded, accepting it. Understood. But these people who threatened you, what shall we do with them? Jingxue's eyes turned to razor blades as she looked at the surviving elders, especially one-armed Shen Wanshan cowering in the corner. Grand Elder Shen Wanshan and his entire branch, stripped of all titles, expelled from the family. No, you can't. Shen Wanshan started screaming. The black-clothed man glanced at him. Annoying. Pop Shen Wanshan exploded into a cloud of red mist. Just gone. Like a water balloon filled with regret. Every remaining elder simultaneously lost control of their bladders. I could smell it. It was not pleasant. The rest of you, Jingxue said coldly, 10 years of solitary reflection on the mountain. Go. They scrambled out of there so fast they left skid marks. Then the old ancestor, the celestial phenomenon fossil who'd tried to eat Jingxue's bloodline 5 minutes ago, crawled out of the rubble from the hole he'd been slapped through, limped over, and threw himself at Jingxue's feet. Young mistress. Mercy. I was blind. I was stupid. Please, treat me like a fart, and just let me go. A celestial phenomenon realm ancient ancestor literally begged to be treated as a fart. I couldn't make this up if I tried. Jingxue looked at him. This man who'd lorded over everyone for a century, now groveling like a worm, and sighed. Fine. But from now on, the entire Shin family obeys me. Understood? Yes. Yes. This old slave obeys. He was head-butting the floor so hard, he was going to give himself a concussion. As things calmed down, Jingxue turned back to the black-clothed man, hesitation in her eyes. The empress you mentioned. My mother. Is she still alive? And that question hung in the air like the most important thing anyone had ever asked. So let me recap my week. I went from a useless playboy to a guy whose fiancée is an immortal physique war goddess, whose one-night stand turned out to be the secret princess of an interdimensional divine kingdom, and whose dad casually genocides assassin organizations as evening cardio. Normal stuff. Totally normal. The black-clothed man told Jingxue her mother, the Ice Snow Empress, was still alive but badly hurt, and in some kind of divine coma. Jingxue went quiet, processing the fact that she was secretly space royalty. He asked if she wanted to leave with him. She refused. I'm staying with the Shin family, stubborn girl. Gotta respect it. Before leaving, he gave me one last look. The kind of look that said, I know exactly what you did with the princess last night, and I am memorizing your face for future dismemberment purposes. Then he vanished. Poof. Gone. Like the world's scariest magic trick. I let out the longest exhale of my life. Honestly, though, walking away from the Shun estate, I was in a fantastic mood. Let's check the scoreboard. Arrived at the inn yesterday as a Meridian opening nobody, leaving today as a Khanate Realm 4th stage fighter with a secret divine princess girlfriend who's bodyguard. Could one-shot celestial phenomenon experts. Only downside. Said bodyguard looked at me like I was a piglet who'd defiled a goddess, and he was deciding which sauce to cook me in. But hey, problems for future Chu Feng. Present Chu Feng had grandpa and dad as human shields. Let the divine kingdom come. We'll figure it out. I turned a corner, whistling, when I heard shouting up ahead. Useless is useless. So what if you got a marrow cleansing pill? You're still trash I can stomp whenever I want. I looked over and saw a bunch of rich kid bullies kicking the crap out of a teenager in the middle of the street. The teenager on the ground, face bruised, lip bleeding, fists clenched with helpless rage. My future brother-in-law. Yi Hao. Yi Hongwan's little brother. The kid I'd basically given 100 Spirit Stone miracle pill to fix. The ringleader doing the stomping was some punk named Xie Yuan, son of Marquis Wuan, and one of Fifth Prince's bootlickers. Apparently, he'd picked a fight to avenge the Fifth Prince's bruised ego over losing the marrow cleansing pill. Yi Hao had actually made incredible progress, already at Meridian opening 1st stage after just a few days, but he was still a baby cultivator with zero combat experience. Xie Yuan was Khanate Realm. It was a grown man beating up a toddler. Stop. I said it the way you'd tell a dog to get off the couch. Lazy. Bored. Not even worth getting excited about. Xie Yuan looked up, saw me, and his smirk got wider. Well, if it isn't the capital's other famous piece of trash. What? You want to defend this loser? He ground his foot into Yi Hao's back for emphasis. My little brother-in-law grunted in pain, looked up at me with the most complicated expression, part anger, part confusion, part reluctant hope. I walked over, looked down at him. You dead? No, he spat through clenched teeth. Cool. That's all I needed to hear. Then I moved. Slap. The most crisp, the most perfectly delivered, the most cinematically satisfying backhand of my career landed across Xie Yuan's face. He spun like a top, 2 full rotations, and sat down hard on his butt. Half his face inflated like a balloon. A perfect red handprint glowed on his cheek like a brand. His crew of lackeys went full mannequin mode. Frozen. Staring. Error 404. Reality not found. Yi Hao was staring at me too, mouth hanging open. Yeah, buddy, the wastrel just one-slapped your bully into the pavement. Surprise. You hit me. Xie Yuan grabbed his face, eyes popping with disbelief and fury. A Khanate Realm fighter. Dropped by a single slap from the kingdom's most famous loser. Hit you. I flicked my hand like I was shaking off something unpleasant. Yeah? So what? Got a problem? I'll kill you. He launched himself at me screaming, fist blazing with Khanate Realm energy. Tyrant Blade took one step forward. One. His deathblade intent locked onto Xie Yuan like a sniper scope. Xie Yuan's charging body froze midair, legs buckled, and he crashed to his knees, shaking so hard his teeth were rattling. Cold sweat soaked through his clothes in seconds. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe, could barely think. I helped Yi Hao off the ground, dusted him off. Someone hits my little brother-in-law. They're hitting me. Consider this settled. Yi Hao looked at me, really looked at me, and after a long pause, mumbled, "Thanks. We're family. Don't mention it." Then I turned my attention back to the kneeling, trembling, pants probably ruined mess that was Xie Yuan. "You were pretty tough a minute ago. What happened?" My dad is Marquis Wuan. I serve the fifth prince. Touch me and you're making enemies of Marquis Wuan? Fifth prince. I crouched down and patted his swollen face. Pat, 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 each one landing on his pride like a sledgehammer. "You think if I killed you right now, chopped you up and fed you to dogs, your daddy or your precious prince would even squeak?" He saw the look in my eyes and realized. This maniac meant every word. "Guards. Someone. Get the guards. Send the household army." He screamed like his life depended on it. Which it did. And unfortunately, it worked. Heavy boots marched in from both ends of the street. Over 100 armored soldiers with long halberds sealed off the road, blades pointed at us. The Wuan household's private army. Xie Yuan crawled behind his captain like a cockroach scurrying under a fridge. "Kill them. Chop them into mincemeat. I'll take responsibility." The captain looked nervous. He could sense Tyrant Blade's aura, but orders were orders. He drew his saber. "Formation. Prepa." He never finished the word. A killing intent descended on that street so cold, so absolute, so soaked in the blood of thousands that the air itself seemed to freeze solid. 100 armored soldiers, trained veterans, every one, started shaking. Their halberds hummed and vibrated. Their faces went white. They weren't looking at a person anymore. They were looking at death in human form. A red figure stood in the middle of the street. She'd appeared from nowhere. Just there. Crimson combat outfit, like blood, like fire. Yi Hongwan. My fiancé glanced at her brother's bruised face first. Something flickered behind those dead-cold phoenix eyes, a tiny crack in the ice. Pain, anger, love she'd never admit to. Then those eyes slid to Xie Yuan. "You did that to him?" No shouting. No threats. Just a flat, emotionless observation. Like she was reading a grocery list that happened to contain his death. Xie Yuan's blood literally stopped flowing. His jaw was chattering so hard, he couldn't form words. Yi Hongwan. Don't you dare. This is the capital. My father won't forgive you. Your duke's household can't protect." She raised her hand. That's where it stopped. She just raised her hand. Hadn't done anything yet. But every single person on that street, soldiers, bullies, bystanders, probably some nearby pets, understood with perfect clarity that what was about to happen to Xie Yuan was going to be extremely permanent and extremely messy. And me? I just leaned back and watched my future wife work. Best seat in the house. Yi Hongwan raised her hand. That hand, delicate, pale, looked like it should be painting watercolors or playing piano. But the second it went up, invisible sword intent locked onto every living thing on that street, like 100 laser sights clicking on simultaneously. Her ancient sword slid from its sheath with a sound like a dragon clearing its throat. One slash. One single blood-red arc of light that was so fast and so beautiful it was basically art. Deadly, terrifying murder art. 100 armored soldiers, heavy plate, long halberds, tough guy formation, went flying backward like leaves in a hurricane. Every single one hit the ground coughing blood, weapons clattering everywhere, unable to get up. One. Sword. Swing. 100 trained soldiers. Done. The entire street went so quiet you could hear heartbeats. Mine was doing double time, and I wasn't even the one in danger. That's my fiancée, ladies and gentlemen. The woman I publicly claimed as my woman. The woman I promised to marry. She just soloed a private army with a casual wrist flick like she was swatting a cobweb. I am either the bravest or the dumbest man alive. Yi Hongwan's eyes found Xie Yuan. He sat down. Involuntarily, his legs just gave out. And then came the smell, sharp, acidic, unmistakable. The son of Marquis Wuan, servant of the fifth prince, big tough bully who was stomping on my brother-in-law 5 minutes ago. What himself? In public. On a main street. In broad daylight. Don't. Don't kill me. I was wrong. He was blubbering, snot and tears everywhere. Dignity departed for a distant land. She walked toward him. Each step was a countdown. You hit my brother. I take your arm. Sword flash. Blood spray. His right arm hit the ground 3 feet away. Aghh, a scream that didn't even sound human. He was rolling around in his own blood, face twisted beyond recognition. Then, because apparently losing a limb doesn't cure stupid, he started screaming threats. My dad is Marquis W.N. He'll destroy you. Your whole family will pay. My fiancée sheathed her sword without looking at him. If your father has complaints, he knows where to find me. Cold. Clean. Done. She walked over to her brother, gently wiped the blood from his lip with fingers that had just severed a man's arm, and for one tiny moment, those dead frozen eyes thawed. Does it hurt? Yihao shook his head, looking back and forth between his terrifying sister and the lazily grinning me, clearly having the most confusing day of his young life. Then she glanced at me. Thank you. 2 words. Quiet. But real. First time she'd ever said anything to me that wasn't a threat, an insult, or a rejection. Don't mention it. I shrugged. He's basically my little brother-in-law. Protecting him is part of the job. Her eyebrow twitched. Then she hit me with the cold water. Don't celebrate too early. The dragon rankings start in days. If you can't make top 10, you could hold a sword to my throat, and I still won't marry you. Top 10? I laughed. Not a small laugh. A big one. The kind that comes with total, absolute, possibly delusional confidence. You're thinking too small. I looked her dead in those frozen phoenix eyes. I'm going for number 1. Her pupils contracted. Just barely. But I caught it. I could read her thoughts scrolling across her face like subtitles. Every Dragon Rankings champion in history was some once-in-a-century genius hidden by a top sect. This famous wastrel thinks he can beat all of them? In days, she mentally filed me under. Arrogant, delusional, hopeless. That flicker of warmth she'd felt when I saved her brother? Gone. Replaced by disappointment so thick you could spread it on toast. She shook her head, took Yihao, and walked away without another word. I watched that red figure disappear down the street, and my grin only got wider. Just you wait, woman. You're going to be so conquered. The news spread across the city faster than fire through dry grass. The headlines practically wrote themselves. Kingdom's number 1 wastrel and number 1 female war god team up to destroy Marquis W.N.'s son. Wastrel heir declares, I'm taking first place at Dragon Rankings. The entire capital was talking. Some were laughing. Some were impressed. Most thought I was clinically insane. At the Wuan household, Marquis Wuan was staring at his son's stump of an arm and smashing furniture. I'll make sure Chu Feng dies on that stage, he snarled. Join the club, buddy. There's a waiting list. Take a number behind the Emperor, the Yang family, the Long family, the Blood Fiend Hall, some ancient Nether Sea monster, a foreign dynasty's prince, and probably 3 or 4 people I've forgotten about. You might get your turn by next year. Xie Yuan was screaming from his bed. Kill them both. Kill that witch and that lunatic. Sure thing, champ. You go ahead and lie there, armless and pants-stained, plotting revenge against the 2 people who just ruined your entire week with a slap and a sword swing. That'll work out great. Meanwhile, I was strolling home, mentally planning how to make Yi Hongwan fall for me. She looked disappointed. In me? Oh, that was going to change. I was going to win this tournament so hard that her frozen little heart would melt into a puddle. Nobody looks at Chu Feng with disappointment and gets away with it. I was rounding a quiet corner when I stopped dead. Someone was standing in the shadows of the alley ahead. Blue robes, a sheathed sword cradled in their arms. The whole body radiating sharpness, like a blade that was alive and waiting. Killing intent was already locked onto me. Subtle, professional, patient. Oh, come on. I can't walk 3 blocks in this city without someone trying to assassinate me. Is there a GPS tracker on me? Did someone put a "kill me" sign on my back? At this point, I should just start charging admission. Come try to murder Chu Feng. First attempt free, second attempt costs a limb. Ambush, tyrant blade rumbled behind me. Yeah, I noticed. Blue-robed, sword guy in the alley, radiating murder energy, not even trying to be subtle about it. He didn't waste time on a villain monologue. Points for efficiency. Just drew his sword and launched a beam of light at my throat. Void Realm 9th stage. Fast, precise, deadly. The sword got within 3 feet of my neck. Then it stopped. Tyrant blade was just there, in front of me. He hadn't drawn his weapon. He'd caught the sword between 2 fingers. 2 bony, old man fingers pinching a blade that could pierce mountains. The sword whined like a sad puppy. Blue Robe's eyes went dinner plate. Grandmaster, he tried to break free. Pumped every drop of energy he had into his sword. Might as well have been pushing against the planet. Annoying, Tyrant Blade said, and twisted his fingers. Snap! The sword broke in half. Like a chopstick. Blue Robe coughed blood and hit the ground. His face said, "This was not in the briefing. Who sent you?" I asked, strolling out from behind my walking weapon of mass destruction. Silence. Defiant eyes. The classic, "I'll die before I talk" look. Respect the commitment, I said, then stomped on his sword arm. Crunch. White bone through red meat. He grunted but didn't talk. Still quiet? Okay. I moved to the other arm. Crunch. How about now? He was shaking, sweating, twitching, but those hateful eyes stayed shut. Love the eye contact, I said, and started slowly grinding the broken bones into powder with my foot. Inch by inch. The sound was not great. Even I winced a little internally. I'll talk. Finally. I'm from the Azure Cloud sect. Sent by the Third Prince. Third Prince? Xiaotong. I literally had never met this guy. I searched my memory for any possible grudge. Nothing. Zero. Complete blank. Apparently, I was now collecting enemies I hadn't even offended yet. They were just spawning automatically at this point. Tell your Third Prince, I said, looking down at the human wreckage, that I'm keeping score. Tell him to wash his neck and wait. I walked away into the night. Another assassination attempt, another Tuesday. Back at the mansion, Dad was waiting in his study with his, "You did what now?" face. "You picked a fight with the Wuan household. Technically, that was your future daughter-in-law's work," I said, hands up in surrender. "I was merely an accessory," Dad's eye twitched. Even the great war god of Qian had no comeback for that. Then he tossed me a jade bottle. Inside was a pill so red it looked like liquid lava had been compressed into a marble. Earthcore Fire Lotus Pill, a genuine 5th-grade miracle drug that Khanate Realm fighters would literally kill for. Take this. Go train. The dragon rankings are in days. Don't embarrass the family. Thanks, Dad. Love you too. Get out. As I left, I heard him murmur something behind me. Something about someone named Yu Qing, wondering if I took after him or her. His voice was soft. Tender, even. A side of him I'd never heard. My mother, maybe? The one nobody ever talked about. Got questions for later. Power-ups for now. Meanwhile, at the Third Prince's mansion, that pretty boy Royal and his grandpa, the sect master of the Azure Cloud sect, were having tea when their assassin got carried in on a stretcher. Both arms destroyed. Career over. How? The Third Prince sputtered. Grandpa's face went dark. The Chu family assigned a grandmaster as his personal bodyguard. Impressive dedication to a supposed wastrel. So what do we do? Simple, cold smile. Your cousin will handle him at the tournament. The Third Prince's eyes lit up like Christmas. Of course. Cousin will destroy him. Great. Add, mysterious powerful cousin, to the list of people trying to kill me at the dragon rankings. At this point, the tournament should just be renamed Everyone vs. Chu Feng. I spent the next 5 days in closed-door cultivation, burning through that Earthcore Fire Lotus pill like it was premium fuel in a race car. And when I emerged, boom. Energy eruption. Door exploded. Dramatic wind in my hair. Stars reflecting in my eyes. The whole 9 yards. Khanate Realm 7th stage. In 5 days. From 4th to 7th. 3 more breakthroughs stacked on top of the 4 from before. Total journey. From useless Meridian opening trash to Khanate 7th in less than 2 weeks. My sister appeared instantly, eyes the size of saucers. What the? Are you a monster? How is this possible? Just the usual, I said, examining my fingernails casually. She pinched my side so hard I yelped. Ow. Attempted fratricide, that's for being insufferable. She released me, then got serious. Today's the day. Dragon rankings. You ready? I cracked my knuckles, feeling the explosive power coursing through every fiber of my being. A grin spread across my face. More than ready. Time to show some fools what happens when they put a target on my back. We were heading for the door when a wave of cold, violent, blood-soaked killing intent crashed down on the mansion from the sky. No warning. No build-up. Just instant, overwhelming. Everything in this building should be dead, energy falling on us like a hammer from heaven. Oh, come on. It's tournament day. Can I please have one morning, just one, where something isn't trying to kill me before breakfast? Is that too much to ask? Do I need to schedule my assassination attempts? Sorry, 8 a.m. is booked. Can you try to murder me at 3 p.m. instead? Apparently, yes. Apparently, that is too much to ask. The sky went dark. Like, literally dark. A massive cloud of blood-red fog rolled over our entire mansion like the world's worst weather forecast. The air turned freezing. Everything smelled like a slaughterhouse. The ground started cracking. Servants were collapsing left and right, shaking like leaves. And floating in that crimson nightmare above our house, dozens of figures in blood-red armor wearing demon masks, holding blood-red spears, wrapped in visible black death energy. Every single one of them looked like they'd crawled out of Hell's VIP section. The Blood Guard. The Blood Fiend Hall's elite kill squad. From the Nether Sea. They'd actually come. Their commander, the biggest, scariest one, looked down at our home like it was a dollhouse. By order of our home master, surrender the Spirit King map fragment. Pause for dramatic effect. Hand it over. You may keep your corpses intact. Oh, how generous. They traveled across an ocean to offer us the privilege of dying with our bodies in one piece. What thoughtful guests. I did a quick threat assessment, and my stomach dropped. Every single Blood Guard member was above Grandmaster realm. The commander felt like a celestial phenomenon expert. Dozens of beyond Grandmaster fighters plus a possible celestial phenomenon leader. This was an invasion force. For our house. Then Dad shot into the sky like a missile made of anger. Black armor. Dragon-patterned spear that appeared in his hand from nowhere. Hair whipping in the wind. Battle intent rolling off him in visible waves. You think you can make noise in MY house? I don't care if you're the Blood Fiend Hall or the Dog Fart Hall. Since you came, none of you are leaving alive. The commander laughed behind his demon mask. A marquis from some backwater mortal kingdom thinks he can challenge the Blood Fiend Hall? Pathetic insect. He didn't even take Dad seriously. In his mind, our war god was just a big fish in a tiny pond. Nothing special compared to real Nether Sea powerhouses. That was the last mistake he ever made. Dad moved one step across the sky. His spear became a bolt of black lightning aimed at the commander's face. A firefly dares compete with the moon. The commander sneered, raising his blood spear to block. The sneer froze on his face the instant the weapons touched. An incomprehensible force exploded from Dad's spear tip. Pure, overwhelming, carrying the will of a man who'd conquered kingdoms and crushed armies. The commander's blood spear cracked like an egg and exploded into fragments. I am. Impossible. His scream was the last sound he made. Dad's spear tore through his chest armor, shredded his body, and turned him into a cloud of red mist before he'd finished falling backward. One thrust. A suspected celestial phenomenon expert. Deleted. The remaining Blood Guards collectively soiled their demon face underwear. Run. FLE. They turned into streaks of red light, trying to escape. Did I say you could leave? Dad swept his spear sideways. A crescent-shaped wave of black energy arced across the entire sky, catching every fleeing Blood Guard like a net made of annihilation. No screams. No struggles. Every single one, whether Grandmaster First Stage or Grandmaster Peak, simply ceased to exist the moment the energy touched them. Dissolved into particles. Returned to the universe's recycling bin. A few breaths. That's all it took. The blood clouds, the demon masks, the elite kill squad that was supposed to terrify kingdoms, all gone. Like someone had wiped the sky clean with an eraser. Dad floated there, spear in hand, blood-spattered black armor gleaming, looking like an immortal god of war who'd just finished his morning exercise. Everyone in the mansion was staring with their jaws on the floor and worship in their eyes. My heart was pounding. My dad just soloed an entire international military operation before breakfast. The Blood Fiend Hall sent their best, and their best lasted approximately 15 seconds. Then, from the back courtyard, a grumpy, old voice rumbled out. Tianlong, what's all this racket so early in the morning? Fighting flies? You woke me up from my nap. Grandpa Chu Chingsong shuffled out, hands behind his back, yawning, looking supremely annoyed that international terrorism had interrupted his beauty sleep. He glanced at the sky where dozens of elite warriors had existed 30 seconds ago and shrugged. Bloodfiend Hall? Never heard of them. Next time these nobodies show up, just squish them quietly. Don't let it delay my grandson's tournament. I walked up to them feeling genuinely guilty. Grandpa, Dad, I'm sorry for bringing trouble to the family. Nonsense. Grandpa's eyes went wide and he grabbed my shoulders, slapping them so hard my teeth rattled. A Chu can pick fights with anyone. You want to punch someone? Punch them. Heaven itself could collapse and Grandpa will hold it up. He puffed up like an angry rooster. Anyone touches a hair on my grandson's head, their entire bloodline pays the price. Bloodfiend Hall. If the Jade Emperor himself showed up, he'd still have to sit down and shut up in front of me. My heart went warm. This insane old man who'd literally fight God for me was the best grandfather in any universe. All right, enough standing around. Grandpa waved his hand grandly. Today's the Dragon Rankings. Let's go? Grandpa's coming personally to cheer you on, and heaven help anyone who looks at my precious grandson the wrong way. He grabbed my arm and marched toward the gate with the energy of a man heading to war, not a sporting event. Dad and Ling Yin exchanged a look. The look of people who love someone but also know he's completely, beautifully, dangerously unhinged, and followed. So there we went. The Chu family parade. Me, Khanate Realm 7th stage, fresh out of 5 days of power leveling, ready to fight. My sister, Void Realm Fire Goddess with anger management issues. My dad, the man who just solo-deleted an invasion force with a stick. My grandpa, a senior citizen so terrifying that even the Emperor pretended his spy squad hadn't been murdered. And somewhere behind us, lurking in the shadows, Tyrant Blade, Big Guy, and Bluebird, heading to the Dragon Rankings. Every person who'd been scheming to kill me on that stage, the Emperor, the Yang family, the Long family, the Third Prince, the Wuan household, and whoever else I'd forgotten. They were about to learn something very important. You don't mess with the Chu family. And you definitely don't mess with the Chu family's baby boy. Let's go. The Imperial Arena was massive. 1,000 acres of pure spectacle, 10 giant fighting stages made of ancient mystic iron, seating for hundreds of thousands, banners everywhere. Think Super Bowl meets Gladiator Coliseum meets Martial Arts World Championship. We rolled up like royalty because, well, we basically were, and got escorted to the VIP section with the best view in the house. We'd barely sat down when the Yi family arrived. Grandpa Yi, Yi Hongwan in her red combat outfit looking devastating as always, and little Yi Hao trailing behind. The kid marched straight up to me with that complicated expression. Thanks for the other day, but don't think I'm grateful. If we meet on stage, I'm going all out, sunder a little brother-in-law. Adorable. I ignored him completely and looked past him at the real attraction. Yi Hongwan, red outfit hugging every curve. Ice Queen face revealing exactly zero emotions. Perfection. Wifey, are you competing? I asked with my most charming grin. She glanced at me, shook her head. Oh, thank God. I clutched my chest dramatically. If you entered too, I'd have to fight you for first place, and that'd be awkward. If we're gonna fight, it should be in the bedroom, right, darling? Her body actually trembled. Those frozen eyes ignited with twin volcanoes of fury. She glared at me with enough killing intent to peel paint off walls. Worth it. Totally worth it. Boy, you think you can marry my granddaughter? Dream on. Old Yi barked at me. What did you say, you old fart? Grandpa materialized behind me like a guard dog. My grandson is marrying your girl, and if you try to stop it, I'll beat your wrinkly. Grandpa. Please. We're about to be in-laws. Let's keep it friendly. Two national heroes, both old enough to know better, almost threw hands in the VIP section before the tournament even started. The gossip mills were going to have a field day. Then Marquis Wuan arrived, Xie Yuan's daddy, with murder radiating from his eyeballs. He brought some cold-faced young fighter who looked like he ate puppies for breakfast. Wuan's killing intent washed over me and Yi Hongwan like a poison fog. Grandpa responded by flexing his own aura so hard that Wuan coughed blood and had to look away. Didn't even say a word. Just pressured him until he bled. My grandfather is a menace and I love him. The 5 great families started filling their sections. The Long family, Dragon Proud Heavens clan. The Yang family, Meathead's people. The Shun family, Jingshue's crew. And 2 new ones I hadn't dealt with yet, the Su family and the Wu family. That's when things got catty. Some girl in a yellow dress, Su Jiao, the Su family star prodigy, spotted Jingxue and decided to be the worst person alive. Oh my, is that the Shin family? I figured you wouldn't bother showing up this year. You don't exactly have anyone worth sending, do you? Unless you're putting your useless brother on stage. She laughed that fake rich girl laugh. Oh wait, are you competing, Jingxue? A girl with dead meridians who can't even sense chi? Planning to get beaten to death on stage and embarrass all 5 families. I was watching from nearby, blood pressure climbing steadily. Then some white-robed pretty boy from the Wu family, Wu Kuan, their young master, walked over and started white-knighting for Jingxue. Don't listen to her, Jingxue. In my eyes, you'll always be the finest woman alive. This made Su Jiao go absolutely nuclear with jealousy, which she redirected entirely at Jingxue. A waste like her deserves attention from Brother Kuan? Shameless. All right, that's enough. Whose dog got off the leash this morning? All this barking and the breath. Phew. I sauntered over, picking my ear. Who are you calling a dog? Su Jiao shrieked. Whoever's barking. I smiled pleasantly. You're just the kingdom's biggest loser. Coming to defend another loser? 2 wastes make a perfect couple. Slap. No warning. No wind-up. Just a crisp, perfect, high-definition backhand across her pretty face. She spun like a ballerina. A cherry-red handprint bloomed on her cheek. The entire VIP section went so quiet you could hear individual brain cells dying from shock. I had just slapped a great family's princess. In public. At the kingdom's biggest event. In front of everyone. You hit me. She was holding her face, eyes radiating enough hatred to power a small city. Insolent brat. The Su family patriarch leaped to his feet, grandmaster pressure erupting like a geyser. Picking on children now, are we? Grandpa's voice rolled across the arena like God clearing his throat. He barely glanced at the Su patriarch, and a wave of battlefield killing intent, the concentrated essence of decades of actual warfare, smashed the man's pressure into confetti. The Su patriarch stumbled backward several steps, face going white, suddenly remembering why smart people didn't provoke the Chu family. Things were approximately 3 seconds from becoming a full-scale aristocratic brawl when His Majesty, the Emperor, arrives. A shrill announcement voice cut through everything. Saved by the bell. Or rather, saved by the royal entrance. The Emperor's timing was either incredibly lucky or incredibly calculated. Probably calculated. This was the man who'd moved up the entire tournament to get me killed, after all. But whatever. The drama could wait. I looked at those 10 massive fighting stages, cracked my knuckles, and felt a grin spread across my face. Showtime. Every enemy I'd made over the past 2 weeks, every prince, every family heir, every sect disciple, every hired killer, they were all here. All waiting. All thinking they were going to be the one to put me in the ground. Sorry, folks. There's been a change of plans. The useless wastrel came to play, and he came to win. The Emperor's arrival shut everyone up instantly. Even the Su patriarch swallowed his rage and backed off, though he looked at me like he was mentally composing my obituary. Everyone bowed. All hail His Majesty, hundreds of thousands of voices shaking the sky. Emperor Zhao Yuan walked up to the main viewing platform in his fancy dragon robe, looking imperial and smug, the face of a man who'd rigged an entire tournament to kill a teenager. Behind him trailed his collection of princes and officials. I scanned the lineup. Right Prime Minister Bai. Second Prince Zhao Yu. Third Prince Zhao Tong, the one who'd sent the sword assassin I'd dismantled. Fifth Prince Zhao Qian, the cockroach who'd sent death squads after my fiancée. And 2 princes I hadn't encountered yet. First Prince Zhao Zhan, tall, hard-faced, radiating military energy. Apparently he'd been training with the army for years, no political connections, 0 presence at court. Just a soldier. Interesting. Fourth Prince Zhao Wan, scholar type, folding fan, gentle smile, dressed like a literature professor who'd accidentally wandered into a fighting tournament. Supposedly the star pupil of some prestigious academy. Harmless looking, which in my experience means the most dangerous. Su Jiao, still holding her slapped cheek, hissed at me. You're dead at the dragon rankings. Don't end up in my bracket. I grinned back. Or you'll learn what cruel hands destroy flowers really means. Then another announcement blared. Her Highness the Grand Princess arrives, and the crowd went even more insane than they had for the Emperor. A woman walked in wearing a purple palace gown, and every heterosexual male in the audience simultaneously forgot how to breathe. She was, okay, how do I describe this? Imagine someone took the concept of dangerously attractive and turned it into a person, then cranked every dial to 11. Curves that could cause traffic accidents. Peach blossom eyes that literally seemed to pull your soul out through your eyeballs. Every tiny movement, a smile, a glance, a step, dripped with natural, effortless seduction. 90% of the men in the arena were staring with their mouths open. I could actually hear guys gulping around me. Damn, the Grand Princess really is an absolute knockout, I started saying. Pinch. My sister grabbed my side meat and twisted. Don't you dare go near that woman, Ling Yin whispered urgently. That's Princess Zhao Meier, and she is a man-eating monster. She keeps a mansion full of beautiful young men as her personal toys, uses them until she's bored. Then they either get their life force drained dry or get broken beyond repair. You're skinny but wouldn't survive one night with her. My eye twitched. This kingdom's royal family was something else. Then, because today was apparently make Chu Feng uncomfortable day, the Grand Princess's gaze drifted across the crowd and landed on me for exactly 1 second. 1 second, and my entire soul vibrated like a tuning fork. It felt like she'd x-rayed my entire existence with a single glance. Master, danger, little Ling screamed in my head. That woman has the natural seduction body. It's an extremely rare supreme-tier physique. Women with this body are born with a fatal attraction to all males, and they typically practice harvesting techniques that drain men's energy. But little Ling's voice went weird. This is strange. A woman with that physique and those habits should have lost her primordial purity ages ago. But she hasn't. She's still intact. Wait. A woman who keeps a harem of pretty boys, who's famous for playing with men until they break, who's been doing this for years. And she's still a virgin? What? How does that even work? What is she doing with all those guys? Playing chess? My brain tried to process this information and threw up a file corrupted error. Up on the platform, the emperor raised an eyebrow at his sister. What brings you here? Just bored, she purred, sitting down next to him uninvited with the casual authority of someone who feared absolutely nothing. A big event like this. How could I miss the fun? He let it go. Smart man. Even the emperor knew not to poke that particular bear. Then Zhao Yuan stood up and addressed the entire arena with his big, dramatic emperor voice. Today marks the beginning of the Dragon Rankings tournament. The format: elimination rounds to determine the top 32, followed by a champion defense stage system to determine the final top 10. Standard stuff so far. Then he dropped the prizes. All top 10 finishers receive a 6th grade pill, a Mystic Tier technique, and a Mystic Tier spirit weapon. Nice. Not bad. Top 3 receive access to the Imperial Armory. Choose 1 Earth Tier technique and 1 Earth Tier martial skill. The crowd stirred. Earth Tier stuff was legendary. The kind of thing sects went to war over. And the champion? He paused. Dramatic Emperor pause. Every eyeball in the arena locked on. Receives a legendary realm-breaking divine pill and 1 month of cultivation inside the Imperial Secret Realm. The Dragon Abyss. The arena detonated. The realm-breaking pill could force any cultivator up an entire major realm regardless of bottlenecks. Grandmasters who'd been stuck for decades would sell their own mothers for it. And the Dragon Abyss? Built on the kingdom's actual dragon vein? 1 day inside equaled a year outside. That was the kind of prize that turned friends into enemies and allies into assassins. Everyone in the competitor section looked like wolves who'd just spotted a bleeding deer. And me? I leaned back in my seat, feeling my Khanate Realm 7th stage power humming through every cell, watching hundreds of ambitious young fighters work themselves into a frenzy over prizes that were about to be mine. A realm-breaking pill would rocket me up another full major realm. The Dragon Abyss would compress a month into 30 years of training. Combined with my Chaos Divine Demon technique, my Divine Demon body, the Yin-Yang Creation Tower. First place wasn't just a goal anymore. It was a mathematical certainty. I cracked my neck, rolled my shoulders, and felt my grin turn sharp. Every prince, every family heir, every sect prodigy, every hired killer in this arena was looking at those prizes and thinking mine. They were all wrong. Those prizes had my name on them from the moment I decided to enter. Let the Dragon Rankings begin. My sister's eyes narrowed as the prizes sank in. Front 10 gets 6th grade pills and mystic tier gear? The Emperor's really spending big. She looked at me with that knowing smirk. This feels like a trap designed specifically for you. Jack up the rewards so every fighter in the arena goes maximum murder mode trying to take you down. Dad confirmed it with his war strategist voice. Our two families, the Marquis household and the Duke's household, are the military's backbone. If we merge through marriage, it threatens everyone. The Emperor, the 5 families, every power broker in the capital. They all want you eliminated. A bunch of chickens and dogs, I said, flicking an invisible speck off my sleeve. That's my boy. Ling Yin slapped my shoulder hard enough to leave a bruise. Over at the Duke's section, old man Yu was stroking his beard with maximum schadenfreude. The Emperor's really pulling out all the stops. That Chu boy is finished for sure. Oh, grandpa-in-law. You sweet, deluded old man. Then the Emperor stood up and dropped the real bomb. To better inspire our young talents, this tournament shall operate under death rules. No consequences for killing on stage. Families and sects may not seek revenge. Anyone who interferes will be charged with treason. The arena went silent. Then exploded. Death rules. Death rules. Previous dragon rankings had always been, tap out when you're losing, affairs. This was the Emperor literally telling every fighter, kill Chu Feng, and I'll protect you from consequences. Every single pair of eyes in the arena swiveled to look at me. The teenager yawning in the VIP section. This wasn't even a scheme anymore. This was the Emperor pointing a giant neon sign at my face that read, "Please murder this boy, Zhao Yuan. You son of a mangy dog. You shameless piece of..." That was Grandpa, screaming profanity at the Emperor of the nation. At full volume. In front of hundreds of thousands of people. Not even trying to be subtle. Every noble within 50 meters was trying to become invisible. My grandfather just publicly called the Emperor a bastard. At a national event. While the Emperor was standing right there. This family has zero chill, and I love it. Ling Yan's face darkened. He really wants you dead on that stage. Honestly, I stretched and cracked my knuckles, smiling. I think these rules are great. Now I don't have to hold back. Meanwhile, third Prince Zhao Tong was staring at me from across the arena with the expression of a man mentally composing my eulogy. Then his eyes drifted to Yi Hongwan with the look of a creepy stalker who'd already picked out curtains for their future house. Buddy, that's my future wife you're ogling. Add yourself to the list. Registration opened and hundreds of fighters surged forward. I scanned the crowd. Lowest cultivation was Meridian opening. Dozens of Khanate realm experts, some even higher. The kingdom's entire young generation of killers, all in one place. All fired up by death rules and legendary prizes. And somewhere beyond the kingdom's borders, things were getting worse. The Great Flame Dynasty's second prince was cruising toward us in a flying chariot pulled by magical beasts, looking at our kingdom the way you'd look at a convenience store you were about to rob. So this is Great Qian? Compared to our empire. Kind of pathetic, his servant agreed. They rank below 50th in the eastern region, Your Highness. Barely worth noticing. They're having some tournament today? How quaint. Let's go watch. I'm curious what talent a backwater like this can produce. So a foreign prince with an empire 100 times our size was coming to crash the party. And from other borders, more unknown powerhouses were silently entering our territory. Everyone was converging on this tournament. Everyone wanted something. The map, the prizes, my head, or all three. Wonderful. The matches started. And wouldn't you know it, my very first draw. Match 1. Stage 10. Marquis of the North's heir, Chu Feng, versus Marquis Wuen's disciple, Xi Lin. What a coincidence. My first opponent just happened to be from the family whose son's arm my fiancé cut off yesterday. Totally random. Definitely not rigged at all. Up on the stage jumped a lean, cold-eyed killer radiating Khanate realm 4th stage energy. He licked his lips. Why do villains always lick their lips? And said, "Your time to die has come." That's Xie Lin, Marquis Wuen's deadliest protege. Khanate 4th stage. Killed dozens of people. First round, and the wastrel draws this guy? He's doomed. One hit. I give it one hit before he's paced. Top 10? What a joke. The crowd was having a great time writing my obituary. Hundreds of thousands of people laughing, mocking, placing mental bets on how many seconds I'd survive. I stood in the center of the stage, felt his killing intent wash over me like a warm breeze, and picked my ear. You talk too much. Hit me or shut up. I'm on a schedule. Die. He stomped the mystic iron floor hard enough to dent it, shot toward me like an arrow. Fingers formed into a blade aimed directly at my heart. Full speed. Full power. Full killing intent. Going for the instant kill on the very first move. I watched him come. Khanate fourth stage. That was cute. That was really, really cute. 2 weeks ago, this would have been a death sentence. Today? Too weak. I didn't move my feet. Didn't dodge. Didn't flinch. Just raised my fist and threw the most casual punch of my life at the screaming missile of a man flying toward me. Let's see how the audience likes this. Boom. One punch. That's all it took. This guy Xiaolin, innate realm level 4, wearing top-grade armor, supposedly a big deal among the capital's young fighters, came charging at me like he was going to do something meaningful. He got within 1 foot of me. Then his chest caved in. His armor crumpled like aluminum foil, and his entire body just exploded, like a water balloon filled with red paint hitting a wall at Mach 5. Blood rain, meat confetti, bone shrapnel. The entire arena got redecorated in the color of, oh my god, what just happened? There wasn't even a body left. Just stains, some fabric scraps, a vague memory that a person used to be standing there. And me? I just pulled my fist back, stood in the same spot, yawned internally, and wondered if they had snacks somewhere backstage. The arena, tens of thousands of people, went so silent I could hear someone's heartbeat 3 rows up. Then it hit them. Did he just explode? Innate realm 4. 1 punch. How? This is the useless playboy. What kind of playboy punches people into mist? The place erupted like a volcano of disbelief. People were screaming, grabbing each other, questioning reality itself. Up in the VIP section, pure chaos. The dead guy's father, Marquis Wuan, some old Grandmaster-level big shot out of his seat like he'd been electrocuted. His chair turned to dust under his pressure wave. His face was twisted into something between rage and horror, eyes locked on me like targeting lasers. On the main platform, the Emperor sat forward for the first time. His eyes narrowed, scanning me like a human X-ray machine. He'd been suspicious about me this whole time, and now? Yeah, he was right. I was hiding my power, and I could practically see the words, "Kill him," forming behind those imperial eyeballs. The third prince, stalker boy Zhao Tong, looked like someone had slapped him with a dead fish. His smug grin froze and shattered. How is that waist this strong? But then his uncle or whoever, some guy named Lin Songhai, patted his shoulder. Relax. Innate Realm 4 is nothing to your cousin. Today, Chu Feng dies. Zhao Tong looked over at a blue-robed young man in the crowd. Lin Yun, young master of the Azure Cloud sect. Innate Realm level 8. Yes, cousin will handle it. He's dead. Zhao Tong relaxed, his psycho-confidence restored. The fifth prince was also glaring at me with murder eyes. Every prince in the building was recalculating there. Is Chu Feng actually a threat? Spreadsheets in real time. Over at the VIP section, the 3 top sects had representatives watching. The Heavenly Sword sect's top disciple, Lin Yi, nodded thoughtfully. The Marquis heir hid his power well. That explains his boldness at the auction. But ultimately, still not enough. But then, in the Spectral Moon sect's group, a girl in purple robes was staring at me with glowing purple eyes. Master, she said to the beautiful woman beside her, I can't see through him. The woman actually reacted to that. If even your eyes can't read him, this young man is far more than people think. I felt her gaze and turned. Our eyes met. Purple eyes. Glowing purple eyes. And the instant I looked into them, my soul literally trembled. Master, those are innate mystic eyes, Linger screamed. 1 in a million. Anyone born with those has insane talent and cosmic-level luck. When those eyes fully awaken, the power will be unimaginable. My brain immediately went to my favorite web novel quote from my past life. With the double pupil, the path to invincibility is clear. Why borrow another's bones? This girl was a walking cheat code. Filed under. Interesting people to investigate later. Then I noticed another pair of eyes on me. I looked over and, oh Lord, Princess Zhao Meier, the Emperor's daughter, looking at me with those man-eating peach blossom eyes, licking her lips like I was the most delicious thing on the menu. Interesting. So very interesting. A fire ignited in my lower abdomen that had nothing to do with cultivation. That woman is a certified demon, and my body knew it before my brain did. Over at the Yi family section, my future father-in-law Yi Tianxiong smug. Watch him fail. Expression had frozen solid. Mouth open. No words coming out. System error. My future brother-in-law Yi Hao was staring at me like I'd just turned water into wine. The guy he used to call waste and trash just turned a person into a Jackson Pollock painting with one punch. And Yi Hongwan, my Ice Queen future wife? Her face didn't change. Stone cold as always. But her hand gripping her sword hilt? Her knuckles were white. For the first time, those dead, emotionless eyes were actually studying me. Really looking. Not at that useless playboy, but at someone she couldn't figure out. Progress, wifey. Progress. Ha ha ha. That's my grandson. Grandpa's booming laugh shattered the tense silence like a bowling ball through a window. He slammed the table so hard every plate jumped 6 inches. Pure pride. Pure joy. The old man was having the best day of his life. Second sister's eyes were sparkling too. She knew. She always knew I wouldn't disappoint. But then, Chu phone. You animal. You killed my son. I'll have your life. Marquis Wuan completely lost it. Rules? What rules? Tournament protocol? Never heard of it. He exploded off his seat, transformed into a streak of light, and came hurtling toward my arena like a Grandmaster-powered guided missile. Killing intent locked onto my forehead. A full-grown Grandmaster, attacking a contestant on the tournament stage. In front of the Emperor. In front of everyone. Zihuan, you dare. Grandpa's eyes went supernova. He didn't even move, just released his aura. A tidal wave of killing intent, so dense it felt like an invisible mountain materializing out of thin air and slamming into the incoming Marquis mid-flight. 2 old monsters. 1 arena. Tens of thousands of witnesses. And me, standing in a puddle of someone else's remains, watching Grandpa's fight over whether I'm allowed to murder people in public. Just another day in the life of Chu Feng, the dynasty's most useless playboy. God, I love this family.